Folks say that grown-up men are still just little boys, that really the only difference is the price of our toys. We go for macho symbols like guns and running shoes, pickup trucks, hunting ducks, and power tools. Power tools. Power tools. Power tools.
Everybody ready?
Yeah, you just plug them in the wall.
It's the Home and Garden Show, brought to you by the Michaelis Corporation. Water storms, fire and wet basements, life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. 844-FIX-INDY, and you remember that number because this is the weekend of things going to blow up, going to flood, storm damage, whatever. That's going to be a pretty handy number to have. My name's Denny Smith. In studio today, I've got the divine one, Terry Stacy.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. You?
Good.
Good.
I've got Jack Phipps from the Sullivan Corporation. I'll just say it that way. Jack,
Yeah.
I'm always glad when you're here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Excited
From the
to
Sullivan
be
Corporation.
Yeah. The reason I like that is because we get all the great information that we get from Pat, but we don't have to take the insults.
Here. And I do appreciate that.
Yeah, you do appreciate that. Over on the board, we've got Ethan Patterson. Somewhere in the and Ethan, how was your week?
I'm doing good.
You doing good?
We got over the allergies, so we're ready to go. I sound like $1,000,000 right now.
I called Ethan earlier in the week, and he sounded like a packed up mule. Hello?
Yeah.
So he was fighting the allergies. And then, of course, the show producer, the one that we have come to love over the last 10, 12, 15 years, Allison Lemons. Allison just walks in.
Casually strolling
10 to
in.
15 years?
I know.
Wow, my time flown.
We went to your
Well,
baptism.
hello,
and everything.
everybody. I've been here since 6 a.m. prepping for the show, so
Wow.
glad you all showed up.
And she wore,
Thank you
you
for
wore your
having
coat
us.
the whole time and everything.
I did, yeah. I even had a Starbucks in my hand.
Yeah, tell us your Starbucks story. That was pretty funny.
Oh, this guys, I don't know if it's me or what, but I'm always a person where my order gets wrong or they forget about me, which is almost sadder.
Oh, we just happened to misplace yours only.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what happened. I won't name the Starbucks because they felt really bad, but I ordered it at 8 o'clock, and then at 8:45, I was like,
I would have told him to go pound sand.
I was like,
Did you wait that long?
I gotta
45
go.
minutes for
I
a
gotta
drink?
I ordered ahead of time, and then it says it'll be ready in like 10 minutes. So then I got there at like 8:20, because that's
Okay.
usually where I get myself enough room. And then, I waited probably 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and then there's a big order in front of me, so I was like, well, maybe they're just behind, and I don't want to be that person. But clearly I should have been, so...
Too polite.
And they were like,
Yeah.
oh, are you waiting on something? What's your name? And I said, Allison. And they said, oh, we had another Allison in the drive-thru, and I think I gave her your order.
Oh.
Aw.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Allison, are you old enough to remember assertiveness training? They would teach us to be butt heads when we didn't get our way or when things
In
went.
school?
Yeah, I think it started in school. It was assertiveness training. I learned
Assertiveness
never heard
training
of
in
that.
school.
I
it
never heard of
in
it.
college.
Sounds illegal.
I don't.
Sounds illegal? No, it's just that
I
don't take-
clearly need it.
you're not listening. You're taking advantage of me, and I don't want you to take advantage of me. So you assert yourself and say, "Hey, I've been here 45 minutes."
To be fair, they were not taking advantage. They were just doing their job. And the thing is, it happens. I mean, Jack works in retail. I've seen it firsthand. Some people get a little too not understanding that sometimes we're humans and it happens.
It should be your word for New Year's is the word patience.
Oh yeah.
Truly.
Are you thinking this comes back
This
to
is
me?
just a patience thing. No. No, I don't. It's when we talk about, for customer
Lesson to
service,
learn here.
here's the thing. I don't have any patience. I've lost my patience as I've gotten older, whether that's sitting in traffic or whether it's, we just don't have time for it. And then we get mean, not necessarily assertive, but we get mean.
Yeah.
Don't get
Because
her
we're all
started
on our
on
own timeline,
developers.
and of course,
So don't
like,
get me started.
you know, especially it always happens too when you're running late for something.
Always.
Or if you just have
know.
enough time. And that was, I think, what I always get annoyed about is myself, because I'm like, oh, if I would have gotten up 1 minute earlier, literally 1 minute earlier, I would have been here on time. But it's okay. So thank you all for being gracious. Happy New Year.
If you're coming
You
down,
made it right on time. You were good.
If you're
You made it
coming
right
into
on
town,
time.
be aware that there's going to be some challenges the next couple days. We got storms coming in, and Allison gave me the tip-off. If you don't have this, make sure that if you are a Duke customer, make sure you have their outage protocols, whether it's an app on your phone or whether you can do it through a computer. Same thing with AES. Terry, who is your electrical provider?
It's AES.
AES.
But here's what also happens. So if your whole neighborhood goes dark, you figure they know.
They don't.
And
That's
they
so true.
don't. And because then when you finally call them, like after 4 or 5 days, they're like, "Well, we didn't know."
Don't
Everybody-
assume anything.
So just because your whole neighborhood is out, you still have to make that call. They've made it very clear to me that if you don't call, we don't know.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I feel like I don't want to bother them because I'm like, surely they're getting all of these phone
Well,
calls.
Yeah, you're only going to
I know
get
they're
a
sending
message
less
I don't
anyway.
know.
It's very frustrating. Again,
It's
They're
so
working
easy
as fast
if
as-
you have
And
the
the-
app.
yeah.
The app is you just put down outage or something like that. It's already registered. They'll
That's a
tell
good
you whether
idea.
your phone number or your
Yeah.
account number. If you don't have your account number, today might be a good day to get the account number out by a telephone, so you can at least get it reported if you do.
they
But
say it's going to be a
patient.
kind of a heavy snow. It's
How
not
much
going to
snow
be
did
that
you
light
hear?
blowing snow, more of a heavy, dense snow.
All right,
wet.
how much snow did you hear is coming in?
I've heard 6 to half a foot.
Yeah, I've
in
heard
some
about
areas.
that.
They always say in some areas, and then there's the sleet and the ice, and everything is always like well, it could switch in a minute, it could move in a second. So
I was heading
Models
to the
are
airport.
changing.
Models
Yeah,
are
models are
changing.
changing. That's right.
Right.
We'll narrow down.
Right.
There's a window over Terre Haute. That story.
Yeah.
Anyway, get ready for it. If you haven't filled up your car with gas, today might be a good day to do that. Again, know how to report an outage. And other than that, you might just go around and make sure everything's okay outside the house because it might be the last time you walk around outside for a while.
What would people be looking for the outside of the house?
Outside of the house, you want to look around and make sure that your dryer vent is open, that if the snow can build up around it, just make sure that you keep an eye on that. You want to take a look at, excuse me, you want to take a look at your hoses and make sure the hoses are off the hose bibs. And other than that, just look around, make sure that things look normal. If you have downspouts, as the thaw starts, the water's going to come down the downspouts. And if you don't have splash blocks and you see that it's going to build up, just deal with that. You might need to warm up your snow shovels.
Get them prepped.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also for your snow blowers, you probably I don't know if we had much snow last year. I can't remember using the snow blower last year, but there's things to make sure it's ready
Oh,
to
yeah.
go.
Go ahead and start it up. If it's a 2-cycle, you're going to have a harder time starting it than if it's a 4-stroke. If it's a 4-stroke, just, make sure it's primed, pull it, and you should be able to get it going. If it's a 2-cycle and you didn't run the gas out, could be that you've got a terrible-looking carburetor. It's got shellac and
Yeah.
everything else in it. So better to work on it today when it's not freezing-ass cold. That's what it's going to be. But when was the last time, this is a test for y'all. Allison, I'll start with you. When was the last time we had a winter storm warning in central Indiana?
Last February?
Last January?
Terry Lynn, you want to take a shot?
I think it's been like 4 years ago,
It was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
January of 2023. So we
Oh,
haven't
that's
had,
And
right.
it was the
I
same
did.
date, wasn't it? The 5th?
Might have been.
I think it was January 5th.
Good
Might have
memory.
been.
I heard, were you watching Brian Wilkes? Give that information.
That was
last night?
yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday
that's
when
right.
he was giving all the facts about the snow. We really haven't. He talked about like since 1936, there's only been like on one day a total of 10 inches, maybe 4 or 5 days when we had a 1-day snow of 10 inches.
Yeah, it's a lot of snow. And the thing is, we had our cardiologist in on the first day, about a month ago.
Yeah.
If you're older than 40 years old, don't go out like you're killing rats shoveling snow. Take it easy.
Push.
Push. Don't lift. And my good buddy Kirk Parr from
It's all in the
St.
back,
Vincent,
I think.
It's all in the back. Yeah,
It's
you
on
keep
your
an eye.
heart. Right, you're right. It's just so awful for your heart.
Yeah.
Shoveling snow. It's just very, very hard on the cold air you're breathing in.
Sure.
It's
All
not
the layers,
easy.
you're
All the
heating
layers.
yourself up.
Yeah, it's hard on anybody.
Well, we are here to take your phone calls. It's the Home and Garden Show. Yeah, Ethan's going to entertain us. We've taken a lot of, I don't know if your emails or anything blew up about the new theme song for the Home and Garden Show.
No.
No?
No blow up on my end.
No blow up on your end. But
Nobody's
Ethan has done some work for us. So in our returns, we're going to hear some different recommendations, different theme songs that might work. But really, we'd love to take your call. 317-239-9393. Jack's here from Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan to answer any of the questions. We've got some good things for you there. And, of course, we're here to answer your other questions about home and garden right here on 93 WIBC. I assume he's talking about Pat Sullivan, who is on vacation.
Oh, that could work.
Yeah, that could work. Don't forget about me. Happy birthday, Pat. He's taking a good vacation, and he really needs it. I've never seen a guy work so hard in the month of December. November.
His birthday's in August, by the way.
Yeah, I was just being funny.
I know. Jack looked at me. He's like, I didn't buy him a present. I'm like, it's okay.
Jack never buys him a present anyway.
No.
Does he have any more grandkids coming?
I think we got 9 for now.
Because this year begins the new generation.
Yeah,
Generation
how interesting is
Beta.
that?
Beta.
And it is interesting. I think it is interesting when you think about what their lives are going to be like.
I heard it was that generation is marked that every aspect of their life will have some form of automation in it.
Truly.
Wow.
They will know no different.
Which is crazy to think about.
It is crazy to think about, but what they will experience in life is just, when you look at this next generation, Generation Beta.
I sent off some VHS tapes to get converted to
beta.
To a new format, and I was struck by how much technology has come through from this. Ethan and I were talking. You remember when our parents used to have the camcorners that would rest on their shoulders?
Absolutely.
I mean, they looked like they were
10 pounds on your shoulder, and they were huge. And you'd take them on cruise ships. You'd lug these things everywhere you went.
Yeah,
that was the first of documenting everything. Is when we got those cameras.
There are conversion services for that, and I'm looking forward to it. We did a couple of Christmas breakfasts for the plumbing company, and where we had a slideshow and a rack on a carousel on top, and then as the music was playing, we'd hit a button to make it advance and all this type of stuff. So anyway, you can convert all that, and I would encourage you that if you have, old the VHS, or if you have the Super 8, remember the Super 8 just movies. Yeah, get them converted. Get them converted before it's too late.
Yeah. Well, you think about the technology here in this radio, and then I think about this for the younger generation, this newer generation that's coming in. What I've seen, which is we started with tape, reel-to-reel tape, and then we went to mini discs and to what looked like 8 tracks of parts.
2x2.
We had we taped on mini discs. And then eventually you could go right into a computer. We'd start to be able to take things out with us and voice things right there and send them back. And then now we just can do things on the phone pretty easily and decent quality.
I cut my first commercial. Fred Heckman had talked Snuffy into advertising the plumbing company on WIBC. So I went down to 30th in Illinois. Heckman takes me back in this room, and we record the spot, and it's a great big reel-to-reel. And he pulls out a razor blade, and he says, okay, this is how we edit it, because you said, And he says, I don't want the in there. So he took a razor blade, just cut it out, taped it back together. Now,
very time-consuming. What is interesting is this new generation will never know the time it took to put something together with splicing tape. And it's just progress, but it was so much time-consuming to do that. Unless you were really good at it, like our production team that could just do it in a second.
It's called stitching now, but when I watch Allison edit stuff or Kylin,
they
are so quick.
Yeah.
They can edit, I hear you do your interviews, and I watch Kylin almost multitasking at the same time she's trimming this up. That would take the day to do some of
without a razor blade.
Without a razor blade.
Tape or taping and taping it back together.
Well, and what's crazy is that really wasn't that long ago.
No,
the amount long ago before we came to this building.
But I mean, like what? So 20 years?
20 years.
20, 30?
Probably. We started using mini discs and things back. I would say probably.
But 30 years is really not that long for
ago.
all of that technology to change. So it's just insane to think how quick it's going.
And how quick it will go for this next generation.
Exactly. Exactly.
This
hoverboards are finally coming.
I can't wait.
Like the real ones. From Back to the Future.
I'm waiting for my mother to say, "Hey Siri, call Denny home." I'm waiting for my mother to do that. Now, of course, that's not going to happen. Well, she's 95 or soon to be.
Oh, listen, Siri thinks you're talking to her.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Denny.
Oh, that's funny. My phone was on it, and it just called my mom. Okay, it just called me. That's funny.
Always listening.
Hey, listen, if you got a question, 239-9393. I'm going to go to Jack Phipps, who's joined us from Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan. Jack, I I have a lot of people that want to know, how do I get started in house plants? Is there just a simple house plant that you can't kill? Is there something that we can start off with?
That is alive, like a real plant, not a fake plant.
Yeah.
Yeah, the artificials would definitely be your,
They're awfully nice,
your
though.
safeguard
They are
against
nice.
killing a plant. I think your best entry plants would be the ones that you water as little as possible. So something like a snake plant or a ZZ plant.
Cactus?
Low light cactus would be good.
Do you have any more Christmas cactuses?
We do. We have a ton.
Oh, great. What's the price on those?
I'll give you a good deal.
Excellent.
Are people still buying them right now?
Not necessarily.
Slowed
They are
down?
marked down. So if you're in the market for one, stop by Allisonville. But they do kind of slow down their blooming after Christmas, and it takes a little bit of care to keep it going, through till next Christmas. But you certainly can get it to bloom, and that's the kind of plant you hear people hanging on to for years.
Yeah, I love those stories. That's what makes me want
Like
one.
my grandma's 50-year-old Christmas cactus. I don't have, one in my family, but
Yeah. The oldest one I heard about in the country, I think, is 130 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's huge.
They have this great big rootstock, and they'll sort of branch out, but there's different colors. I always thought they were just white and orange, but there's purple,
like
and
a
there's
pink
sort of
one.
a strawberry
Pink.
color. Yeah.
There's even some yellows now.
How do you
too.
know what color you're going to get when you're buying it? Will it tell you?
Unfortunately, no. They typically do come just as like a Christmas cactus. So it's kind of a
Surprise.
wait till they bloom, or look at the draw.
Allison, you love a Christmas cactus because you only have to water it once a week. If you water it too much, you'll kill her. You just kill her. But it's a really simple plant, and when they bloom, my gosh, they're just
They are,
gorgeous.
especially when nothing else is really colorful. It gives you
Yeah.
some color in the house.
I love it. I want one. Okay.
Go on over there, Terry. They're,
I will.
They're really
I thought
simple.
that. I
I'll
mean,
pull
I
a
think-
nice one for you.
Okay, I really figured those were probably done now, gone. Everybody grabbed one, and there's nothing left.
People tend to go for the poinsettias before, and then you still get some people getting the Christmas cactus, but I think when they get rid of their Christmas tree and their garland, they're ready for something new and green, and that's where that can come in.
That's Jack Phipps. Doggone it. That's Jack Phipps from Allisonville Home and Garden. What about poinsettias? Should we try to keep them or just let them go on? And I mean, you're in retail.
Can. I hear some people that do it all the time, for how cheap they are, I would say, just it's not worth it. Just toss it and get a new one. But
I try to keep everything alive, even if it's ugly. You know what? I got that plant.
Which is why
Do you
I'm still
remember
here.
on Mother's Day when we got the Hoosier Boy, that beautiful?
Yes, last May.
That's in the house, and it is bloom. It is beautiful. It is blooming. It is happy
the
as can
house?
be in the house.
what was it?
What was it?
Like an annual basket?
It came up to it started at my waist when I got it, and then over the summer it got to my chest area, and then I just couldn't let it die. Pat kept saying let it die, but I was like, no,
he
these are really
did?
killer.
Oh, wow, how
Maybe it wasn't
encouraging.
like
Well,
a
he just said leave it
hibiscus?
outside.
A
It
tropical
was not.
thing?
It was not a tropical.
Oh, they were
I'm looking up a
beautiful.
picture because the Hoosier Boys, they were so kind and they were giant. It's almost one of those things where people give you gifts and you're almost like, this is too nice for me.
Wait,
This-
I've never
I don't-
had anything that nice.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
really
yeah,
heavy.
those,
So
like-
what are those?
Dahlias.
Dahlias.
Dahlias. They're
They're
in my house, and
beautiful.
I just lugged the whole thing in. It's
How long has it
100
been in your
pounds.
house?
It's been in since fall.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's still blooming?
It's blooming. It's just beautiful.
Do you
I
notice
still
a lot
have
of-
the T-shirt.
A lot of bugs flying around?
Nope. I mean, it's happy.
What
Wow.
I've learned about plants, which is not a lot, but what I've learned is if you just leave them alone,
Yeah.
They're
That's what Dick Crum
happy.
always said. Not
Yeah,
leave them
we
alone
tend
necessarily,
to
but
over-baby them.
we overbaby them, and it's
Yeah.
true. And that's when you just start destroying them, and you start picking
Right.
at it, and you start
Well,
adding
I-
all of these
Smothering
extra
it.
things.
I truly barely water it because it's giant and it just would leak all over the floor, and
So
I'm not
listen to
good
you
at getting
all.
it. But about every week I might put a little something in it.
The lesson is leave it alone.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Let it be.
What about fertilizer, Jack? Do we add fertilizer on house
Inside,
plants?
not as much. I would say you still want to do some, especially for something that's producing a flower. It takes a lot of nutrients. But whatever you do like a half or a quarter dose, just so that you're not forcing a lot of growth inside when it's
So
not.
if you're doing the Miracle Grow, that little quarter teaspoon thing, just maybe half of that or a quarter of that.
and I would say even try to avoid a bloom booster if you can, just like an all-purpose fertilizer.
Okay.
I'm just shocked it's growing inside for you still.
It's so pretty. No, it's not as healthy as it was outside.
No.
by any means, and it drops a lot of color, little colorful parts of it.
Are you guys
But
ready
it's
for
okay.
the first caller of the year?
Yeah.
Here we go.
No pressure.
No pressure. All right, you don't even have to start off with a story. You can just go for it, Jeff. Welcome, Jeff.
Hey, Denny.
Yes,
How
sir.
are you?
That's a happy New Year, man.
Allison, Ethan, of course, the great Miss Terry. I got a comment. Allison, hang in there. When I met my current wife, about 28 years ago, I reckon, every time we went to a restaurant, I promise you, for the first 10 times we went out to dinner, they never brought my wife her meal at the same time as us.
Oh, no.
Did she ever say
I
anything?
don't know whether they. Well, she would never say a word about
Yeah.
it, but I mean, it upset me. But that was back in maybe the waitresses and waiters were really experienced, and some of them wrote it down, and some of them didn't. But it just always worked out like that. But my wife is such a sweet person that she never really acted like it was anything, but it meant a lot more to me. But
Yeah.
I wonder also. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, I'm just glad I'm not alone in that situation. Maybe we should start a support club.
Well, there you go. There's a whole nother show. I also wanted to mention my wife is so good. We have a couple cats, a Maine Coon and a little tabby. The Maine Coon is like a 40 big mama, we call her, solid black hair with green eyes.
Oh, wow.
She is the mother of the house, I swear, for never having a litter. But anyway, it was a stray, so it lived with us for years. And now we're noticing all the other cats. Our cats don't go outside anymore, and that they're around. So I want to remind everyone, take care of your pets, man. 15 degrees is so freezing.
Good job,
My
Jeff.
wife has boxes set outside with heaters in them and everything. We've got every stray cat in the neighborhood, and she just can't turn it down. So don't forget your pets, man. We got some bad weather coming.
You're a
You're
good man,
absolutely
Jeff.
right. And if I may mention right now at Indianapolis Care, Indianapolis Animal Care,
I was getting ready
and
to talk
Control,
about that.
They have, if you can come and pick them up, they've got for your feral cats outside. They've got cat houses for them that they've built from coolers, and strays it takes them a minute to get in. If you do that, don't put the food by the box to try to lead them in, because cats won't. They will fear that other animals will come and eat where they're trying to sleep and get scared. So keep the food away from it a little bit. They'll find it. If they get cold enough, they'll find those boxes. But Animal Care and Control have them for you right now. You just got to swing by and pick them up.
From noon to 2 today, actually, they're giving away several for your outdoor cats. So that's Indianapolis Animal Care Services, and that's on South Harding Street.
That's right.
So noon to 2 today, they're giving them away.
Yep. And remember, we do have a law here in Marion County about keeping your animals out in the cold first. I think
You have
it's
to
at
bring 'em
30
inside.
degrees, 30 degrees and below. Maybe I'm wrong about that degrees. But anyway, somebody can actually call and tell on you and say that you got your animals
will.
outside.
Meaning Terry's
And it's
gonna
just
come
cruel.
parole.
It's just cruel is what it is. And so it's very inhumane. So I hope that you'll bring those animals in if you've got them out back on a chain. And
Well, thank
it's
you.
going to be brutal.
Thank you, caller Jeff. It's good to hear from you, and Happy New Year. Terry, Allison, thanks. That's really good advice. We worry about those little guys. I mean,
I do.
Even taking them out to go pee. I mean, their little paws, they've been inside all day, and
Yeah.
the snow gets packed up in there, and then they just try to shake it off. Our number is 239-9393, 317-239-9393. Allison Lemons, Terry Stacy, Jack Phipps, Ethan Patterson. My name's Denny Smith. Pat's on vacation, but we're here to take your calls right here on 93 WIBC.
Green Acres is the place to be.
Bring it on, Denny.
We have
Ladies and gentlemen,
distinguished-
into the weeds.
Do you have to do that?
Denny Smith.
I'm
Since
trying to
Pat's not
forget
here, I
Sullivan.
thought I'd
yeah,
do it.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, this is a very interesting year, and I did a mathematical sequence on 2025. Now, people say, what do you mean a mathematical sequence? Well, I wanted to know about the year 2025, and then I found out that this Pakistani woman had already done it. Her name is Burqa Jah. So here you go. You ready? The
Ready.
year 2025
Okay.
is called a perfect square. Okay, that means we don't see years like perfect squares but every so often. And it's a perfect square, the square of 45. 45 times 45 is 2025. So I thought, okay, when was the last time we had a perfect square year? It was 1936, which is 44 times 44. And then you go back, and there was one in 1849. And they're supposed to be monumental years, which is really crazy. It's just the mathematics of what the number is.
I don't understand.
Okay, you take how many? Okay, you take the square root of
Should
2025.
let me write it down?
Terry, it's hopeless.
I'm not
going to
bother.
Just pay attention. You take the square root of 2025, you get 45. Okay?
Okay.
Just like you take the square root of 9,
Oh, okay.
you get 3.
So that's what you mean when you're talking about it's a square.
It's a square root year. But
Okay.
here's the other thing. You do some more mathematics on this, and 2025 is also the product of two squares. It's the product of 9 squared and 5 squared. If you take 9 squared, 81 times 25, which is 5 squared, you get 2025.
Is this the end of the world?
It's kind of spooky, Tara. I got to tell you, these distinct
Don't
mathematical
tell her
things,
that.
stuff happens in these years. If you go back and you see what happened in 1936, of course, that's when Hitler came to rule, per se, in Germany.
Oh,
Great.
that's
Went down.
interesting.
If you go back to 1849, you remember what happened in
That's scary.
1849?
1849?
The California Gold Rush.
So
Okay.
what are you thinking? Is this
Well,
about
2025,
Bitcoin?
there's a lot going on in 2025, but here's the funny thing. This is the most extraordinary property of all. If you take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay, you take all of them as individuals, and you cube each one, 1 to the third power, 2 to the third power, 3 to the third power, like 3 times 3 times 3, okay? If you add all of those up, 1 through 9 cubes equals 2025. This is getting spooky about all these things. And this has never happened like this.
Is it the end of the world?
I'm getting the chills.
You're getting the chill. So it's significant as the first square since 1936, and it's the only square year that we will see in our lifetime. So I don't know. Maybe you guys can make it to 2116. I don't know. I can't make it to 2116. But good luck to you if you do. But it's a very special year, so just get your radar up. Get ready for some fun because 2025 is going to be a year of mathematical marvels. It already is with all this stuff. But the coincidence of all this happening, you ready for this? 1 in 1/10,000th of a percent. That's how rare this year is. It's just
It's rare,
incredible.
but is it going to be the end of the world?
Oh, it's not going to be the end of the world. We'll keep going.
Is it going to be a good? Does this mean it's going to be good? Does it mean it bad? Or is this just about numbers?
eventful.
It'll keep going. But my thanks to Burka John. I've
doesn't
never.
know.
This woman did a lot more research than I did. I was just noodling around, and this woman has really got down into the
Wow.
stuff.
Into
All right,
the weeds.
we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to go down and get our guest for the next hour. We've got a little bit of a surprise for you as you're starting to plan out your projects. Terry, you're going to be working at the home show.
I will be at the home show coming up here. What is it? The 17th through the 26th, something like that.
That's right. This is Project Planning Month. This is when everybody plans. And how many years you been doing the home
A
show?
long time.
Long
Love it.
time.
I just love it. It feels like spring.
Anyway, we're going to have a very special guest coming in. I'm going to go downstairs and get him. But right now, you take a minute and give us a call. It's 317-239-9393. We got the pros in here. We got Jack in here. Allison's for the matters of the heart. Jack can do anything about horticulture, house plants. We'll talk about repotting just a little bit later. But give us a call if you got questions, and maybe even about the home and the home stuff, HVAC or plumbing. The number is 317-239-9393.
Best song ever.
93 WIBC. I want to let this music go on and on.
Oh my gosh, Teddy Swims. I think this was the #1 song this year. His amazing voice.
Works
And
for
nobody
me.
even really knew who Teddy Swims was until this song
No,
came out. And
I
everybody
didn't.
was like, who is that? What does he look like? Who is this guy? And
Powerful voice.
Man.
He sang
Powerful
this
voice.
with Kelly Clarkson on her show. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. If you haven't seen it.
Oh, boy. Hold on. We've got to get a mic up here.
I love that show that she starts out with.
Yeah,
You know,
the Kelly Clarkson. She does a karaoke, so she'll cover a song every week, and you just forget how talented she is.
Was she the original America's Got Talent or the
American
original-
Idol.
American Idol. She was the first
The
one.
first one.
First to
Unbelievable. How
win.
long ago was that?
20
20
something
years.
years.
Think of all the
2000
shows
at least.
that have started up since that period.
All the music show competition
And
shows.
ladies,
Oh,
just
man.
for a second, I don't want you to see a man blowing his nose, but I want you to see what type of handkerchief Mark has. Okay?
Oh,
This
he's
is-
got the red hanky.
Exactly. That's what real men carry in their pocket. Mark
That's
Rowland is going to
branded.
join us here in just a minute, but I've been made fun of for carrying a red handkerchief most of my life, but that's the way it goes. 317-239-9393. Believe it or not, we got a caller who's got a question about his yard. Hey, Bob.
Hello.
Happy New Year, brother. How are you?
Good. I've got a question. I'm having a house built, and they've got the footings and the concrete blocks in, and they're getting ready to do the backfill against the blocks. I'm concerned about just having a big mess with the mud and everything. Is there any kind of grass seed that I can throw down or pads or something to try to keep fresh dirt from getting in a new house?
Bob, this is during the construction process?
Yes.
Yeah. I think you're overthinking it. I don't think anything's going to germinate right now. But when we have an overdig situation, one of the things we really want to have happen is we want everything to settle out, and whether it's muddy or not, really muddy's almost better than dry earth going in because it settles out and compresses and compacts down. But I'm going to look over at Jack. Jack, is there anything we could put down on an overdig situation up against the foundation wall?
Some things I've done. Some my dogs will tear through the yard to the point where they're tearing up mud, and I'll put some straw down, just to keep them from tracking the mud in.
Yeah.
Have they already backfilled everything, Bob? Is it up against the foundation wall now?
They have not. They're supposed to do that soon, I believe.
You're worried about this, aren't you?
It's a big mud hole right now.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned about builders and tracking everything in and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're a good guy. I'm sorry you're worrying about it, and try not to, because this is part of the construction process, especially in the wintertime when we get so much moisture. But I don't think it's going to hurt anything. As far as inside the house, tracking it in, as long as it's on the subfloor, I don't think it's going to be a big issue at all. And the contractor normally has people come in to keep that swept up. By the time we get to the finish phases, they're going to put down floor protectants and other things. But
what about a roll of landscape fabric?
Yeah, there you go.
That you could just put some stakes down in, and then pull it up when you're
Bob,
ready.
do you know what landscape fabric is?
Yeah, I think it's those mats that's got the seed already in it, right?
Well, not
It's
necessarily.
more like a weed barrier.
It's like a weed barrier. It looks like
Okay.
a tar paper, but it's not tar. And it would keep things down. It's still permeable, so the moisture. You want the moisture to get down to the overdig area. You want that to settle out. But Jack, that's a pretty good idea. Do you guys still have
We have a
landscape
ton
law?
of it.
You have
Yeah.
you need Allisonville Home and Garden, about 115th and Allisonville Road. You might want to put down some of that, but I would check with your builder and see if it's going to make him grouchy or not. Okay.
Gotcha. Well, one more. The garage is higher than the ground. What do I want to fill so the car will have a ramp? Do I want to put topsoil in, or do I want to put stone in, or what kind of ramp do I want for the car to drive up?
I've got a concrete worker here with me who knows more about that. That's Indy Decorative Concrete. But we never want to put any sort of dirt in a compactable area where a car is going to be driving. So we're going to want at least 4 to 6 inches of stone on that apron itself. I tell you what, when Mark Rowland joins us in the second hour, I'll ask him this question. But again, this is a builder decision. You shouldn't have to be worrying about this, Bob. You're gonna have a stroke by the time you move in. Okay.
Gotcha. Hey, you guys are the best. Thank you very much.
It's good to hear from you, and Happy New Year, guys. I think Bob's got a long construction process ahead of him. Poor guy, he's worried about everything.
Well, you just do.
You just
Can't
do.
help it.
We got time for one more here. Let's see. We got Doug here. Let me see if I can pull him up. Here we go. Hey, Doug. Happy New Year and welcome to the Home and Garden Show. What's up?
Same to you guys. Appreciate your show. This is probably for Jack. Is I have burning bushes that are out of control, and I really want to obviously not do it anytime soon. But how much into spring do I have to wait before, and how short can I get them?
So you can cut them back, almost as far as you want. They're
You
indestructible.
can't kill them, Doug.
The one thing
Okay.
I'd say you want to be careful about would be the pruning time. So if you give it a cut when we have, a temperature that gets below freezing, you tend to do some damage to that cut before it has a chance to heal up. And that can lead to, a little bit of dieback on those branches. But that would be very minimal in the grand scheme of things.
So middle of March would be fine, where we don't have constant, I can, pick and choose.
Yeah, middle of March would be perfect. If we get a late season, frost, just keep an eye out for a stretch of 3 days, above freezing, and you're good to go.
And really, Doug, it's a nice refuge for birds too during the winter. They need a little bit of loving, and if you can give them just a little bit of a windbreak or a place to hide. Doug, believe it or not, Mackie and I were taking a walk yesterday, and we saw robins. And I always thought robins flew south, but there's robins
I've
out
heard
there.
a lot of birds lately.
So give them a place to roost, and then come springtime, do the hatchet job on them, okay?
All right. Thank you, guys.
You bet.
Man, the birds are hungry.
They
I'm
are.
feeding them
hungry.
like 3 times a day. They're starving.
I'm feeding mine
Well, they're
3
just
times a
and they're
day.
fat. They're getting a lot of food, but they're hungry.
They probably know the weather's coming, so they're
Yeah.
getting fat.
I'm looking at Terry. You save the cats. You take care of dogs.
No children.
Oh,
This is what
okay.
happens to you when you have no children.
Oh, you're taking care of the
You take
birds.
You take care of everything else, or you try.
Nature
Someone
becomes
needs
your
to,
children.
though.
Everybody's got a purpose, right?
Those
She's
of you-
now Mother Nature.
You have heard Terry Stacy for the better part of 3 decades. She's got a heart as big as Louisiana.
Mostly for animals.
Mostly, yeah, she does not like builders. And she does not like contractors. And heaven forbid if you're a developer. Don't even show up over there on the east side.
It's not a hate or anything. It's just I'm concerned for the farmland.
That was, okay.
Again, I have something to worry about. No children. So it's farmland and animals.
Somebody has to take that on, so thank you.
Our numbers, 317-239-9393. Hey, in the next hour, we're going to have Mark Rowland from Indy Decorative Concrete come in. This is the planning season for so many projects, and a lot of people are about sick of their patios. Sometimes they're sick of their driveways. And a few years ago, we did a remote broadcast.
It was so fun.
It was fun,
We
and
had
I learned
fun.
so
We
much from
learned.
that. So I reached out to Mark and said, can you come in? Besides, I want to get caught up with the family and all that other stuff anyway, to find out what's going on. They're just a good family business down there on the southeast side off of Brookville Road. And he's going to teach us how we can approach patios and how we can do certain things. It'll be good to have him in here. A little bit later in the 10 o'clock hour, we've got a distinguished professor of generational variances going to be in studio. He's from EP University.
Oh, boy.
We know him as Ethan Patterson, but he's really got some good stuff for us today. And, of course, Craft Corner. Ladies, are you ready with Craft Corner today?
Always.
Generation. I am ready. And the generational thing.
Yeah.
What was that about? That's about.
Generational variances?
What does that mean, really?
I think Denny's just putting a lot of words together.
What is it?
But I think what
it's one
Ethan's
thing I
going to talk
demand,
about
it's respect.
apps that you can use in today that will help with home and garden stuff.
Oh, okay.
So he's taking I guess
He's
in
an
the
app guy.
generational thing, he's the younger kid educating us older folks.
Oh, okay. I like that you put
You like
yourself
that?
in
You
there.
see how she did
If
that?
I didn't, I knew you'd call me out regardless.
I wouldn't-
So
I'm not
I feel like I
calling
couldn't
you out.
Say
win.
anything. We all work together well.
Is
We're
that right?
multi-generational here.
Yeah.
That's right. It's a family.
By the grace of God. For those of you who want to get in, if you've got questions about concrete work or if you want to, discuss some things, we'll do our best to get Mark to take some questions too. Our number is 317-239-9393. Sullivan's on vacation. You all know him. He's gone crazy for the better part of 2 months with the Santa train and all the stuff that's going on at Sullivan Hardware, not the least of which was the entertainment that took place the last 4 or 5 days. Allison, did you get a chance to go to one of the shows?
I did not, but yeah, the Sullivan Express, in between Christmas and New Year's, they always have a North Pole Comedy Club. So Pat Godwin was the special guest this week, and I will say every show was sold out, and people loved it.
He's just a funny guy, but he's so talented too. I can't believe how well he plays and how well he does things. All right, our number, 317-239-9393. Coming up next, we've got Mark Rowland from Indy Decorative Concrete here to take your phone calls too. The number's easy, 317-239-9393. And all that's right here on 93 WIBC.
Well, some folks say that grown-up men are still just little boys, that really the only difference is the price of our toys. We go for macho symbols like guns and running shoes, pickup trucks, hunting ducks, and power tools, power tools, power tools, power tools.
It's the Home and Garden Show, brought to you by the Michaelis Corporation. Water storms, fire, and wet basements, life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. It's 844-FIX-INDY. And Mr. Sullivan is on vacation today, but in studio I got Allison Lemons, Terry Stacy, Jack Phipps, Ethan Patterson. And I tell you what, I've also got a guy that I came to appreciate about 3 years ago who has a small business. It's not so small anymore, but Mark Rowland is the owner of Indy Decorative Concrete, and he joins us now. Hey, Mark.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Good morning. Thank you.
It's good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
We were laughing that small business is the backbone of America, underappreciated, overtaxed, and have more headaches than anybody could possibly imagine. But
Definitely.
All right, Indy Decorative Concrete. Real quick, let's tell people what it is you do.
Yes, sir. Residential stamped concrete primarily. Do a lot of backyard patios, pool decks, front porches, some driveways.
Yeah, pool decks. I guess I never thought about that. Let's talk about what stamped concrete is. Is it new concrete or is it poured on top of old concrete?
No, that would be new concrete that we get a ready mix truck, throw some color into the truck itself and then mix it all the way through. And then when we go to stamp the concrete, we'll grab any number of different textures and patterns and broadcast another second color over the top and permanently embed that color into the concrete.
So you're sort of like a Picasso or a Claude Monet. You're colorizing what is really just gray concrete.
It's definitely a piece of artwork that we're doing in a matter of about an hour. It can be stressful, but
all right.
beautiful.
So I'm curious, how many jobs did you do last year at Indy Decorative Concrete?
Probably between 350 and 400 jobs.
Wow. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
It seems like a great idea. Now, can we do anything? Can we make it look like bricks? Can we make it look like stone?
Absolutely. We've got brick stamps, slate, wood. Wood's probably one of the more popular.
For a driveway or for a patio?
For a patio. Mm-hmm.
So you can make it look like a deck?
Absolutely. And the gray tones are really still in right now. Kind of interested to see how 25
gray tones. Okay, now talk slow for me. I'm a plumber. What's a gray tone? Tell me what that means.
So the color of the concrete.
Just the color of the concrete.
Yeah,
okay.
we can manipulate that concrete with many different colors, but gray has tended to be the go-to color scheme for a good 5-6 years.
Mark Rowland from Indy Decorative Concrete has joined me. He is the head of a family enterprise that's really quite remarkable. Wife Jamie, your daughter Audrey, your son Mark.
Yes.
And I understand you're a grandpa now, so we're going to have
family's growing, definitely.
That's pretty cool. All right, so let's talk about this colorization. You're actually throwing color into the concrete mixing truck itself.
Yes, sir.
How do you keep that color from going on to the next job?
Well, the ready mix company will have to
wash
that truck out, and they charge us for it.
I bet they do. They make you bleed and die. All right, so this is really pretty fascinating. So let's say I've got a back porch. My back porch is maybe, and it's not just the porch, it's the patio, 20 years old, starting to break and crack and sag a little bit. The idea is to break that up.
Definitely.
Reform it, and then pour it and then stamp it. Tell me, when you say stamp it, how big's a stamping pad?
They're all a little different, but most of them are about, say, 4 foot by 2 foot long, or
4 foot by 2 foot long.
Yeah.
And how do you do those in the middle of the concrete? I see you do the edges okay. How do you get to the middle of the concrete?
Yeah, so we put on some special shoes, what we call clown shoes, to disperse your weight as you're getting on top of the stamp. And then just, you continue with each set of stamps is going to be, say, 10 to 12 stamps. So you'll, move one. They're like puzzle pieces, so they've got to interlock but yeah, you would just disperse your weight. It's a timing thing for sure.
Jack and I are looking at each other. When we're working in the garden, we just work the garden. When you're working with concrete, it's setting up, it's curing, it's hardening. How
Absolutely.
Jack,
Working against the clock.
I guess the clock. All right. So how do you know when it's time to start, and how do you know when you're really screwed? You've gone too far.
Sure, that's absolutely an experience thing, and we see a lot of jobs where, companies that don't have experience stamping say, well, I'll try this, and get into it a little too deep and realize that hey, you better start.
Well, how'd
small.
you get into it? Did you lose a bet or something? I mean, you were just a concrete worker, right?
Yeah, no, actually, I was a former chef and kind of fell into this from took some classes just doing decorative coatings on top of concrete.
Right, which is what I remember.
Yeah, and then years went on, and it just kind of evolved into where now we just simply pour all new concrete.
All right, so what's the process? Let's say Jack's sick of it. Jack lives in Broad Ripple, and he gets sick of his backyard. What's the process? We're getting into the planting season. What do we do?
Absolutely. Yeah, just give us a call. We'll come out and give a free, no-pressure estimate. We're not a company that tries to, hard sell you. And one of the things that customers like as well is you can just simply call us, and I'll give you a ballpark price over the phone. We can talk about it, and maybe it's a good fit, maybe it's not, and if it is, we'll come out and we'll help you with design and get some feedback from you of what's the outcome you want. What are you looking for? Are you wanting just something that, hey, I want enough room for a dining table and a grill? Okay,
Yeah.
then we'll come up with the design to
Do you
help
use
you.
Google Earth? Are you looking down on their property while you're talking to them? Or
Yeah, sometimes if you're just wanting a ballpark, but primarily we'll come out and for free and give you a price, typically same day.
Earlier, we had a client who's having a house built, and he was asking the question about the garage is higher than the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I've got this area that I need to fill in. As a professional,
Mm-hmm.
I just told him, I said, you might want to put granular in there. How do you adjust concrete? What's the best I think his name was Bob or Doug, but anyway, he's worried
Sure.
about this. What do you put in there?
Yeah, for our base, we're going to make sure that we have a compacted stone base, so at least 4 inches, as you said, 4 to 6 inches, and then we would pour a 5-inch thick slab with rebar reinforcement.
So you're using 2x6 for your framing? Or for
Yes,
your,
sir.
Instead of 2x4. That's interesting.
Yes. Yeah. Most driveways out there for production homes are 3.5, 4 inches. We want to go a little deeper.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you see people doing Mark Rowland joins us from Indie Decorative Concrete, and before we let him go, do you see people doing driveways also, or is it basically patio work?
Primarily, we do a lot more patios. We do driveways as well, but there's nothing sexy about a new driveway. Typically, people are spending more time in the backyard, and
Exactly.
so that's where our focus has really been.
Well, bringing up driveways, actually, because the winter, is starting to ramp up, and especially the snow and ice the next couple days. It's funny, off air yesterday, I was talking to Nigel, who has got a new driveway, and he was specifically told not to put salt on his new concrete driveway. So how do you prepare and save that new concrete driveway?
That's a tough one. With all the engineering we have, you would think that we would be able to come up with concrete that can handle salt. But, as the industry, we've got to tell you, don't put salt on your concrete.
Even if it says it's safe for concrete.
Yes, and some of those products are actually worse. You want to seal your concrete. Most people don't seal their regular broom
Explain
finished
what
driveway.
that means.
Yeah,
Sealing
so
it.
you would just do a pressure wash the driveway and put on a topical sealant, and that's going to better your chances of success for avoiding pitting. But there's still no guarantee that that's going to prevent salt damage. So a lot of times if you can put sand or kitty litter. But and I know that's the reality is most people are just going to do it. And if you are going to do it, then definitely make sure you seal the
Allison,
concrete.
do you see
sparingly?
Do you see his face? How it's sort of contorted? That's the face of a scalded dog when they know there's boiling water on the stove. How many times have you had this conversation with an upset client? You know? Oh my goodness. Well, Mark Rowland, thank you.
Thank you.
Please tell the whole crew hello from all of us. Thanks for your investments in WIBC. We sure appreciate you as advertisers. But more importantly, it's a neat product that everybody's going to need if they live in their house into the second or third decade.
Definitely. And we're here to help.
That's good. Oh, and how do they find you?
IndyDecorativeConcrete.com.
IndyDecorativeConcrete. I'm sure you got pictures and everything else.
Oh, absolutely. And we have a showroom you can stop by and
we've
check
been
out our
there.
product.
You also do fire pits and come up on wall structures.
Absolutely. And we've got some new products coming out in 2025 with some louvered pergolas and fireplaces, fire pits, outdoor lighting. So we're going to have a lot for the backyard to complete that.
Part. Mark Rowland from Indy Decorative Concrete, 8366 Brookville Road, but it's IndyDecorativeConcrete.com. You're always welcome here, brother. It's good to have you. And say hey to the whole family for us.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be taking some phone calls here on the Home and Garden Show. The number's 317-239-9393, right here on 93 WIBC. I just love the music. I want it to keep going. Hey, my thanks to Mark Rowland from Indy Decorative Concrete. If you hear all the people on WIBC who advertise, you believe it or not, 95% of them are small family businesses. Give them a shot. You can get lots of quotes. Everybody wants to, and you need to, really. But don't forget the homegrown ones. They're the ones that are paying the taxes, that are keeping everything going right here in central Indiana. And my thanks to Indy Decorative Concrete. And if he's good enough for Nigel, can you imagine what a picky person Nigel might be?
Oh, no.
Oh, no? Is he easy? You work with him every day. Is he?
He's not picky, but I will say he probably doesn't know much about concrete, so it's good that they were there.
What does Nigel have other things that interest him besides radio? I mean, is he music?
He likes beer. He likes Nickelback. He likes talking about how he used to work for a rock station.
Really? Wow. Something that none of us
No,
can
he's a good one.
Our number is 317-239-9393. Give us a call. We're going to start taking some calls here. Be glad to take yours. 317-239-9393. First up for us is we've got Steve. Hey, Steve. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good. What you got?
Just hopefully a little bit of information for Bob, who called in earlier with the construction project going on.
Yeah.
I'm a real estate agent, have been into business almost 40 years and worked with a number of different builders over the years. And obviously, most people know that realtors will help people and represent them in building a new house. But from what it sounded like, he may be in the process of maybe this, I don't know if it's his first time, but just some suggestions. And one is, it sounded like he was at the stage where they were, maybe they had just gotten foundation and poured, and I don't know if he's got a basement or not, but once they get going and framing and everything like that, unfortunately, it's just part of the process. You're going to have some stuff tracked in. It's part of the deal, but the builders are going to be pretty good about trying to keep it at a minimum. And
Steve,
Bob,
was your heart breaking for him because you could just see the anxiety level? And a lot of people don't know that if you buy a new home or a builder home, this is where your realtor is the cartilage between two bones. Take advantage of him. But, Steve, my heart was breaking for the guy because I knew he was anxious.
It was. You could tell it in his voice. He was just like, oh, my gosh, what am I doing and what's going on? The major thing I could suggest to him is communicate with your construction supervisor or manager, whatever their title may be. Over the years, I've just seen this evolve, that that person that is managing the project typically is really good about communicating back with the parties involved, the buyer having that house built,
Exactly.
and just say, hey, here's my concerns.
Yeah.
And if they know that and you share that with them, you've got that line of rapport going and that communication, it helps so much that everybody's on the same page. Don't let it build up into you and then oh my gosh, this and just say, hey, how's this all going to happen?
Thanks for being a caring human being. That was really nice. I was picking up on it immediately, but there's not much you can do other than tell them to just please settle down just a little bit. This is all going to work out. It's part of the process. But when you're going through it, it's pretty tough. Hey, look who's joining us now, the famous JMV.
Oh, thank heavens he's here.
Happy New Year!
My buddy, how are we all doing this morning?
We're doing
Good.
pretty well.
We're without Pat today. He's ditched us for Florida.
Oh, man, that's dirty, especially what's going to happen, I guess, projection-wise tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's dirty.
And you live south, and you're going to get the worst of it. I'm up in Hamilton County, and it doesn't look quite as bad. But, Johnny, you could get anywhere from 8 to 12 inches down there.
You believe that, too. Now, when's it going to start? Noon tomorrow? Is that the...
Terry's got the timeline.
Well,
When's it start?
according to Wish TV, it looks like perhaps it's going to start in the morning. It will start in the morning, and we have a Colts game tomorrow here, right?
No, yeah, I'll be down there in it.
You're going to be in it? Tailgaters were Hardy,
I
Hoosiers?
think the window on the roof is open, I think.
Oh, beautiful.
Of course it would be.
Yeah,
Of course
they
it
felt
would be.
compelled to leave it open because nobody's going to be there.
Wouldn't that be the
I think
perfect
you're right.
ending to a
And not
crazy
just because of the
season?
weather.
Yeah.
The dome is
Yeah,
open.
you know the problem is with that is they can't go below. I think the threshold of temperature to have the window or the roof open is like 45, and they can't. There's no drainage system in there, so you can't have any wetness.
I think it was one of those last-minute things. And we used to have a caller by the name of Southside Larry, and Larry told us about the bearings that they put in that to move the roof back and forth. And they put in cheap bearings, and so there's a time bomb waiting to go on that one, according to our.
Well, that, and if you ever watch a game that's done, especially in the month of September for a 1:00 game, is awful. And you ever notice that the Colts are always sitting in the sun field? Nobody figured that one out either. I always kind of blamed Bill Polian, and I'm sure that he didn't have a hard hat on and didn't have a blueprint or anything, but the media's all up like 9 stories in this glass-encased tomb where you can't see or hear anything.
Right.
And then they got a sideline with the home team in the sun, and when it's hot on days in September like that, you'll see like some of the trainers and such holding drywall over the top of the bench of the players when they're sitting there for shade. That should be flipped around.
All right, John, so here's the million-dollar question. Who's going to be the first to go? Are you willing to guess who's going to be the first to go?
No, I think without a doubt Gus Bradley is going to be coaching defensive coordinator in this final game coming up tomorrow. But to me, I think you do one, for example, and Chris Ballard's been here. This is 8 years, and it's 8 years of mediocrity at best. So it's 3 years past, time to go. And I've always said if Chris goes, then I would go ahead and make a move with everybody. I'd make a move with Shane Steichen as head coach. I believe, I see, and can predict what Anthony Richardson isn't going to be. So if you're going to move on from general manager and head coach that selected him, I'd go ahead and move on down the road there too. However, it's not going to be decided by me, and I think there's a good chance that you might see just Gus Bradley and then some defensive changes as well. Maybe some staff changes. But Mike Chappell told me on Thursday his expectation is basically Gus Bradley, and that's it. And this fan base will not be happy if that is the only move that is made with what we have witnessed in the past handful of years. When you think about it, 4 years without the postseason, 6 years without a postseason win, 10 years without a division title. I mean, enough is enough at some point in time. And we'll see tomorrow if they get embarrassed like they did in New York. Maybe that'll change some feelings.
John, here's the psychology behind it. In business, when we have to fire somebody who is in charge of something, it's an admission that we as owners or that we as managers or senior management, C-suite stuff, it means we've made a mistake. And we don't want to admit that. So we sort of pick around the edges, we sort of trim a little bit here and a little bit there, when really if we would just admit that we made a mistake, clean it up, fix it once and for all, things get better quickly. But if what you're saying is they're just going to pick on the defensive coordinator and he's gone, then they're really not addressing the real issue.
If they get rid of Shane Steichen, then who do they bring in? Who's
Well, I
ready?
mean, and that's a good point that you make. And does he really altogether deserve that? No. But to me, and this is going to sound like a really backhanded compliment here, and it's not meant that way, he's swamped as the head coach. Like, he's doing the offensive coordination, calling the plays. He's got to be the head coach. He's got to do the media stuff. He's got all those responsibilities. And I've described it as being swamped. His boat's taken on water in the past 2 years trying to deal with that. And I don't think that's utilized him to the best of his ability. Plus, I just think guys like Shane Steichen, these coordinators that are young and innovative and people think are genius, I think they're a dime a dozen around the NFL. I don't think it really matters.
That's
I'll give
a
you a
fair
great example.
statement.
If
Yeah.
Shane Steichen had Jalen Hurts in Philly and Nick Sirianni were here, then Nick Sirianni would be Shane Steichen. It is your personnel, and especially the personnel that's playing quarterback, that is the difference maker for you. So it's just kind of more about that than anything else. I don't really think it would matter, although he's probably not at all fully deserving of treatment like that. I just think you got to get the general manager and the head coach on the same page, the same year here, and not do what you did with Pagano and Ballard.
There's more
Do what you did with Ballard and Reich and all that.
Yeah, John, one more, and then I got to let you go. But one more thing is that who are you going to replace him with? Are you going to go out and find an outstanding offensive coordinator, which is what Steichen was? What are you going to do? How are you going to replace him without putting yourself right back in the same thing if the organization is designed in the structure that it is? Somebody else is going to fail if they don't fix it organically.
I'll tell you who's perfect for this job is Mike Vrabel. And they were interested in him years ago. They need somebody that's hardcore, somebody that is going to, lead by example. And, everybody's talking about accountability or lack thereof. Somebody that has that type of voice, a Dan Campbell in Detroit type of voice. And, in the hiring process last time, actually going back twice, they liked Mike Vrabel. That's not going to be the case because that's going to be a lot of money for him and a lot of money in the buyout. And think about this too, Denny. You get a buyout and contract. Shane Steichen's got 4 years remaining. I think Chris has 2 years remaining. So we'll see how much money they want to spend. There could be a dynamic at work there as far as just not wanting to spend out that particular amount of money. But we'll see. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting ending to what, again, was an incredibly disappointing season, guys.
JMV, you can hear him on 107.5 The Fan. And I tell you what, John, I'm looking forward to tonight. Are you going to be on air to get me through this snowstorm blues?
You got it. 6 until midnight. We had a great New Year's Eve, Denny. New Year's Eve was awesome, but we'll be back tonight and good to go. Season 5, back in the groove on a Saturday night. I'll talk to everybody on B1057 at 6 o'clock tonight. Live, local, all request radio.
You're one of the good ones, John. Listen, have a good night and Happy New Year, brother.
Right back at you guys. Thank you, guys.
There
Thanks,
we go.
John.
Hey, you know what? We're getting ready for storms, ladies. Did you hear that they were going to have a snowstorm? Did
I
anybody
heard
hear?
mention of it once or twice.
Yeah.
It's kind of along. It looks like I-70 to the south is going to get the most of it.
You are so full of it.
I'm not.
Are you looking at a map?
reading Wish TV.
All right.
Their forecast from their meteorologists, and they say from the south again. It's all iffy.
Yeah.
But to the south of I-70 is going to get worse than
to
the north of I-70.
You know what the worst part about the storms coming in is? It's sort of like a depth charge. Somebody pulls the pin and it goes down to a certain level and then it blows up. And when it blows up, that's when you have to call Michaelis. Because the damage is coming. We won't see it for 3 or 4 days, maybe even a couple of weeks. But hey, Mike, how are you, sir?
Yes. Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Mike Hawkins, and Michael Hawkins joins us from the Michaelis Corporation. Listen, freezing weather, water damage, that's right up your alley, buddy.
Right up my alley. Yeah, that's right in our bucket. And it's not so much worried about the snow as these freezing temps that we're about to have over the next couple days next week. That's the most dangerous part. Snow's fun to play in, The freezing temperatures, that's what you got to keep an eye out for.
You know what? Terry asked me earlier, what can we, maybe it was Allison asked me, what's, before the snow falls, is there anything we should be doing, walking around the house, inside the house, outside the house? What should we be looking for to prevent disasters?
Well, I mean, and if you have any water pipes on exterior walls, that's what you need to be paying attention for. Keep your cabinets open at night. Let that warm air get to them. Keep them on a slow drip. Allowing that pressure to keep moving through those water lines will prevent those freezing pipes and you waking up to puddles all over your house.
Oh, that's not fun. That's not fun.
No.
Last time I heard, Mike, that you guys had like 750 dryers. Did I get those dryer fans? Is that about right?
That is about right. We have tons of dehues too to set up to help with the dry outs if something were to happen with frozen pipes. We are always ready to go. Trucks are always loaded.
Yeah, and as your second favorite plumber, I will tell you that during the freeze up, everything seems normal except you don't have any water, and then all of a sudden things start to thaw out, and then surprise, surprise, you got water, but you've also got a mess. So
yeah, you might have a pool in your basement or your living room.
That's exactly right. Well, Michael Hawkins, thanks for joining us. The number that we can always find you guys, still 844-FIX-INDY.
Yes, it is. Every day.
It is. It's nice to have you guys in our back pocket for those disasters. But it is the Michaelis Corporation. Water storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. It's 844-FIX-INDY. And my thanks to Michael Hawkins from Michaelis. You're listening to 93 WIBC.
Falling down. It's one of the number one things emergency rooms see on New Year's Eve.
Falling down?
From people falling down
Really?
the steps.
Because
Or
maybe they
just
drank a
falling
little
down.
too much? Or?
Perhaps.
Might
On
be.
New Year's Eve?
On New Year's Eve. It's one of the things they see most of are
You
knee
are
injuries.
such a wealth of knowledge.
and injuries from people falling down.
Is that before midnight or after midnight?
I don't know the time. I don't know the time.
interested.
Because you're right. If it was before midnight, it's New Year's Eve. If it's after midnight, it's New Year's Day.
317-239-9393. We're going to take a call here, and then we're going to go to EP University, where we have a distinguished presser going to share some things with us about how different generations respond to things. But first of all, let's talk to Scott. Hey, Scott, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. What's up, buddy?
Our house where we live, we've been there 20 years, and about 3 years ago, there was a big drought in the fall, and I have well water. And after that drought, I have this sulfur smell in my water. And it's the weird part is it's worse in the bathroom than at the sink than it is anywhere else. You don't smell it at all in the shower.
How old is the house?
The house this next year will be 200 years old.
Okay, that's a
so
whole
cool.
bunch of issues.
Do you have any ghosts?
I love the old houses.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to my world, Scott. All right, so when was the plumbing last modernized?
Well, a lot of it's PVC has been replaced, and I've replaced a good bit of it with PEX.
Okay.
So I was wondering if some of that PVC has some buildup in it or something,
No.
causing some odor.
Probably not. It's probably a water quality issue, but sometimes the short little pieces of pipe that come out of the wall that go up to the faucet itself, they used to be galvanized. And depending on whether or not you have galvanized short pieces of pipes are called nipples. So if you have short nips that are galvanized, they can start to break down on the inside and off-gas that sulfur smell. More than likely, it is a well problem, and you're going to need to get a water quality expert in there to really solve the problem. One last question. When was the last time you replaced the water heater?
I've never replaced it.
Okay. So that I'll leave that out because sometimes the anode rod within the water heater is the source of it. But I think you've narrowed it down, and with just a couple of questions from me, I can assure myself that it's probably the well. The one I like is C&J, and they are just the best. C&J water, C&J well. I would ask for a fellow by the name of Smith, believe it or not. Kirk Smith, he is really the best water quality guy I've ever known, and he is at C&J Water. But you give them a call, and I'm sure they can at least point you in the right direction. And then if it's a well issue, they can deal with that. But it might be just water quality. But Scott, sorry, you can't.
That's okay.
You can't blame that smell on the dog. I mean, it's coming from the water. right.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. All right, 239-9393 if you want to get on board. But I reached out to Ethan Patterson, our board op genius when it comes to certain types of technology. And I said, have you got something to help different generations? Because your generation is very, very comfortable with certain types of applications. My generation is comfortable, and yet my mother's generation, who's in her 80s and 90s, it's not so. So, Ethan, the floor is yours, distinguished professor. Give us some learning here, son.
So, I pay a lot of attention to my grandparents, my parents, and what they love to do. And, they love to wake up and they get their coffee and they do one more thing. Every day they get up, they get their coffee, they got to go get the mail, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a sticky subject in the winter because it gets cold,
Oh, yeah. It's true.
Now, Allison, what if I told you that there's an app, okay?
I love this sales pitch.
USPS.
Uh-huh.
If you get their app and you want to know what's coming in your mail before it even gets there, you can go to a portion on their app called Informed Delivery.
Get out of here.
Wow.
Yep. Don't even have to go look at it. Sunday when it's going to snow a ton,
Uh-huh.
might not have to go outside if it's just a couple magazines.
Oh, that's great. So it'll let you know what's going to be in your mailbox that day?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, that's kind of, and it's nice too because if you're looking for things in the mail, like a lot of gift
new
cards,
debit card coming in.
yeah, exactly, you can track it a little better. Wow, look at there! Is it free?
Yes, the app is free.
So it's just the USPS, what is it?
USPS.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, USPS app.
Yeah, yep.
Huh.
And then just to let you know, I had to update my phone last night. You do have to have the latest iOS if you have an iPhone to get the app.
Okay.
But that's the only thing to get around, know.
Now, for people who are not phone literate, that means that they have to do the updates when they come along.
Yep, if you have an iPhone.
Yeah. Cool. So have you done it for yourself?
Yeah, and my grandparents use it as well. So foolproof. I mean, if I can use it, they can use it. I'd say you could probably use it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So people know the post office knows what's coming to us before we know by far.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because they got to get it there and everything, and it goes through the processing and everything. We can't, send anything to anyone. But along with that, have you guys heard of the Ring doorbells?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Ring actually has an accessory that you can put on your mailbox door that when your mailman, mailwoman, whoever,
sign me up,
they open it up, it tells you, hey, they came. So there's no more, honey, have they came by?
Is there a distance from the house that it will work or won't work?
I don't know about you long driveway folks. I have to do a little bit of research on
I would say
that.
as long as it connects to your Wi-Fi, you should be good.
Yeah.
But
Ring
That's a great
Ring,
idea. With so many people like stealing mail.
Right.
Yeah, that's true too.
That is a good security piece.
Wow.
And
That's
it's
great.
going to be cold. Let's be honest,
Professor,
you
you
don't want
did
to take
good
me
here.
on trips. Right.
I'm going to look into this Ring door because, that's the worst thing. Unless you have outgoing mail and you put your flag up, that's how you know they've come because they take the flag down, take your mail. But if not, then you can make a lot of trips out in crummy weather to find out if the mail's been there.
I just think that's a great idea for security mostly. I really do. With people taking stuff out of mail all the time. Truly. That is a great, and it's an accessory.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. That kind of goes along with your Ring system, and I think they even pair together, so you might be able to do all in one app with the Ring there. So
Good one. Love it. That's a good one.
Pretty cool stuff.
We hope to get more from you, buddy. That's pretty good. In case you haven't heard of him, he's the famous Ethan Patterson. He is now a fiance, ready to launch. We've got lots of other
Flourish.
Flourish. Yeah. By the way, I sent him a text message yesterday of different things, and he responded with something. When you respond to somebody to let them know you understand, do you say, okay? Do you give a thumbs up? How do you do it?
All the ways.
All the
Like
ways.
you said, okay, or
Yeah.
thumbs up, something that you got it.
Ethan, you want to tell him how you responded to me yesterday when I gave you the list of things?
Heard.
Heard.
Oh.
Heard. I looked at that. I go, what did I say? What did I say? And I went back and reread it, and it just means that you understood.
Yeah. That's a little restaurant lingo for you radio folks,
It's heard.
Oh, yeah.
How do you use it in the restaurant business?
The kitchen, you need something. Hey, customer didn't like the steak. Little rare for them. Can we cook it a little longer? That cook's going to be back there. He's going to be like, heard.
Wow.
He's just letting you know. I heard you. I heard you.
Right.
I love that.
I hear you. I acknowledge it. Okay, we'll do it.
All right.
Skippity, man.
Is he good or what? I told you he's good or what. Our number, 317-239-9393.
What a word. Skibbity.
I still don't know what skibbity toilet is. And I know everyone listening is laughing because they don't understand either, because there's a generation out there who is in high school and younger, and if you just say skibbity toilet, they'll laugh.
I know. And
I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it on radio, to be honest.
I don't know how it starts.
Are you saying something inappropriate?
No, well, we would never know.
Everything seems to mean cool. At least when you ask that younger generation, hey, what does skibbity mean or whatever, they're like, well, it means like, hey, that can mean cool or, love it.
You mean like rad or what? I don't understand.
Riz, that's a big one right now.
Charisma.
It's short for charisma. They like to shorten things.
But what's skibbity short for?
Skibbity toilet is that is the question, isn't it?
To be determined.
But I'm telling you, I hear all these kids saying it all the time.
I tell you what, if you're listening, and
it's a web series.
If you've got a term that you don't know what it is, you give us a call. 317-239-93. We got the pros here. I mean, skibbity? I'd never heard
Allison,
of it.
what's
it's a YouTube video series.
Oh, okay. She's
so it's a YouTuber,
that's
basically. Skibbity toilet.
Coming right back, right here on 93 WIBC.
Love what you guys are doing in that generation. It's on the south side.
You never know what you're going to get. It's a time when families all get together and the generations sort of, square off and go in different directions. Old people want to find out what the young people are doing. The young people don't have any care about what the old people are doing. But we hear different things from different generations. So,
Allison, there's a new generation. There's a new generation that was born this year. 2025 begins the beta generation. So it's kind of timely to talk about. We were talking about different words, and Allison got in front of her the computer. She's looked up all of the slang and all the words that the younger generations have made up.
Yeah.
And like skippity.
Yeah,
skippity.
That's what kind of brought everything up, was the skippity toilet reference, which if anyone has a high schooler or underneath, they know exactly what the phrase is.
Is it skippity or skippity? I'm calling it skibbity. Am I wrong?
I think it's skibbity.
With a B, right.
Right.
Okay,
but I'm
sorry.
hearing
and Ethan, feel free to, you're a little younger than me, so feel free to correct me at any time.
Ethan
but
knows a lot of these words.
I will say that we were talking about how Gen Z really has dug into the, what would you call it, lingo, if you will. They like to abbreviate things, so we were testing Denny a little bit to see if he knew stuff.
All right, so let's tell him what Gen Z is. Gen Z is 2000 and up, right? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so these, according to a website here that I have, this is the top teen slang of 2004 or 2024. 24.
Oh, okay, of 24.
Yeah, 24. So I'm just going to throw out some. We'll see if we know, or we can put some context together, and then we'll figure it out.
Okay, but you've got the answers right in front
of you.
And
I have the answers.
Okay.
So the first one is more of a phrase. It's if someone says, "She ate and left no crumbs."
She ate and left no crumbs. She ate all the food.
No, she
That's
probably
too literal.
Dominated the conversation and nobody could talk. Oh, I give up.
Ate and left no crumbs. It refers to someone who did something so well that there's no chance for anyone else to do it better. So an example, did you see Denny's dance routine? He ate and left no crumbs.
That's probably true.
Yeah, I love how it's used.
Yeah, exactly. I've been waiting to use that.
You know what you would do then? You go and you'd spill the tea.
That's a good one, Terry.
Oh, Terry.
Thank you.
Well, it kind of works.
You would go and you would tell everybody. You would tell a secret, or you would tell something about somebody.
Yeah,
You're
tease like the
tea.
gossip.
Now, are you getting this from the Urban Dictionary? Because Jane pulls up the Urban Dictionary. Hey, girl, what's the tea? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Dana, you knew, right? You knew that.
I knew what the T was.
Right.
I didn't know the first one.
Here's an easier one. If they call something bougie.
Oh, bougie.
Oh, that's bougie.
Fancy.
Like bourgeoisie.
Yeah.
It's fancy. That's right. You grew up in this bougie country club? ? That was the
I feel like people that associate high-end.
High-end fashion. Yeah. What about bussin'? That's a big one right now.
Bussin' is
Cleaning up?
No, it's
It's like hustling.
it's you're bussin'. Are you telling
You're
something?
talking BUSSING or ZZ?
BUSSIN apostrophe.
Using public transportation.
It's something really good. So if you have like this burrito is bussin'.
Oh.
I'm definitely coming back.
I'm thinking
in the
about
world does
bussing
that come
tables
from?
and
Like, I mean, who invents it and how does it get going?
Another big
Virally?
one is cap.
One video.
CAP, CAP.
CAP, and sometimes people say no
No
cap.
cap.
Yeah. So what does that mean?
I don't know.
Cap.
No cap? Like, no.
Don't
How
come
to use
back.
it in a sentence?
Okay. I actually went to class today. No cap.
No lie.
Yep, that's it.
No lie.
You can
Cap
even
is
do like a
lying
little-
or faking.
You can even do like this, and it's like an unspoken no cap.
Is it
And he's
really?
holding
Like, give
his
him
hat
a
right
little
now.
bill
The bill
shake,
of his
you
cap.
know? Yeah,
Oh,
right.
that's unspoken. No
Do you
cap.
have you used that one, Ethan? No cap? No
Um,
kidding?
It's like a
Some-
hat
I
code
use it
thing.
like ironically,
Oh, okay.
you know. So
No cap.
What was wrong?
That's a whole new level.
What about
What's
about?
wrong with just no lying?
We'll do a couple more here. What's
wrong with that?
What's dank?
Dank
This
sounds
part
bad.
The party last night was dank.
Not good.
Dark, ugly,
No, it's
crummy.
It's like it's I want to say bad. Another
Yeah.
word.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
not good.
Really
It's the
good.
complete
No, really
opposite.
good.
It's excellent or high quality.
They're ruining all these good words.
So really, what we're learning here is whatever you guys think it is, you're either too literal or it's the exact opposite.
Well, think about when we used to say, that's really bad, man. Or, yeah,
It
okay.
was fine. I mean, those are the right words. It was bad.
All right, give me one more,
We'll
Allison.
do one more. This is really popular this year. Delulu. He's Delulu.
Well, you think it's delusional.
Delirious.
Yes.
Delusional.
It's an abbreviation for delusional. Someone who has an unrealistic or irrational belief,
He's
disconnected from
Delulu.
reality. So they're just a couple
It's
couple
the political
words.
season, of course.
And now
it's
we can go
just
into the new year and use all of these words, and they will probably be irrelevant in about 24 hours.
I just wonder when the desire came, and maybe it's been forever, to have your own language.
Well, I feel like
You know?
every generation does have their own like certain words, like far out for the 70s, or
Drip.
Even
Drip
back,
for
even back in the
kids.
60s, we had Maynard G. Krebs, the Dobie
But there's just a
Gillison.
few. And this generation has a whole dictionary.
Yeah.
It's kind of impressive.
And it's a lot. It really
Sorta
is.
jealous, huh?
It really is impressive, isn't it? So there you go.
Just amplified.
Well,
a lot.
So you're welcome, everyone, at the Home and Garden Show.
Think about the Greatest Generation, where they used to do skidamarinky dinky dink, skidamarinky doo, and they all every young
we're back to the
generation
skibbity toilet.
Yelling about
has
the
them.
skibbity?
That's
I-
really
I-
sort of cool.
I called my sister expert analysis on Skibbity, and she literally just said it means nothing. It's like sparkles for like a conversation, so like you can just throw it
Oh,
in,
you
and
could
it
put it
just
in
nothing.
anywhere.
Just
yeah.
literally meaningless fluff.
Yeah, just let it fly.
Skibbity.
Wee.
Skibbity doo doo.
Well,
That's
more to
too
come here on the Home and Garden Show. Thanks for listening.
So weird.
We've got Allison, we've got Terry, Jack, Ethan. Pat's on vacation. I really do miss him, but you give us a call, 317-239-9393.
Broadcasting from the Technology Recycler Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News, 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
Hey, Sasha. I sort of stood you up in the 10 o'clock hour, and I'm sorry. Mark Rowland came in, and it was just total distraction, so I'm sorry I left you out. But are you ready for Snowmageddon? It sounds like it's coming. Really? What day's your birthday? Wednesday, January 8th. A day that will live in infamy. No. Do you do anything special for your birthday? You're a homebody, aren't you? Very content. I got a chance to, Mackie downloaded Wicked, and we watched Wicked. Do you know that's the all-time grossing musical of all time? I found it fabulous, but I thought it was really, really well done. If you haven't seen, have you seen Wicked? Who is the better actress, Elphaba or Galinda? You know, I thought Ariana Huffington really did a nice job. Or Ariana Grande, sorry, I'm taking wrong one. Yeah. Yeah, Kylan Talley gave me the heads up. She goes, now don't think that this is all going to get resolved in the first one. And sure enough, they left you hanging just a bit. And so I'm ready for the next one, too. Sasha, good to talk to you. We'll talk to you if you got time. We'll talk to you at the noon o'clock hour, too, okay? Sasha Nixon, the WIBC Newsroom.
Well, some folks say that grown-up men are still just little boys, that really the only difference is the price of our toys. We go for macho symbols like guns and running shoes, pickup trucks, hunting ducks, and power tools, power tools, power tools. Yeah, you just plug them in the wall and think of all you can do. You can plant a garden, fix your car, build a house if you want to, if you've got the proper power tools.
It's the Home and Garden Show. Jury's still out about whether or not we're going to change our theme song. Mr. Ethan Patterson has some variations for us, and we'll play a couple of those for you a little bit later. But remember that we're brought to you by the Michaelis Corporation. Water storms, fire, and wet basements, life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. It's 844-FIX-INDY. Just like your utility numbers, if you have an outage, you want to remember 844-FIX-INDY. I still laugh at the time when Pat burned his house down. He remembered the number from the commercials. And, you know, we say that 1,000 times a week, 1,000 times a month. And 844-FIX-INDY, it's an easy one to remember. Don't miss it, because when you need them, you really, really need them. Jack Phipps joins us from Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan. And Jack is it okay to call you a houseplant expert?
Yeah, I'll take that.
You'll take that? We were talking about Christmas cactuses. And I have repotted my Christmas cactus. I have two of them, and I've repotted both of them twice. Mine is maybe 25 years old. But anyway, Terry wanted to know how old my plant was. But every time I replant, of course, it gets bigger and bigger, and I'm running out of big pots.
Yeah.
If I don't want to replant it, how do I keep the plant vibrant? Do I need to dig it up, trim roots? What do I need to do?
So if you kind of get to your max pot size and you're ready to keep it at that pot size, that's where you want to start doing some root pruning.
How do you do it?
As opposed to repotting.
How do you do a root prune?
So I'd wait until that root ball gets so dense that you can kind of pull that whole plant up in one chunk, and then you're just kind of going and shaving off that outer layer of roots. So if you
With
have
scissors?
a serrated knife you could do to kind of give it a little, cut all the way around. You don't want to go in too deep. You're just kind of opening up those kind of fine capillary roots again.
Do I need to put any hormone stimulant or anything on it when I put it back in the pot, or is first of all, I've really insulted it. I mean, you
So
pull
I would
something out
say
of a pot, you're
the
insulting
root
it.
pruning is kind of enough of a stress for it. Once it kind of settles back down, you could fertilize again.
Okay.
So that would be a month or two.
What about sunlight? First of all, I never put my Christmas cactus anywhere near sunlight. They've always gotten indirect, and they've done fine.
Yeah.
What do we do in the wintertime when it comes to sunlight?
So a lot of things, because we have shorter days, the sun's a little bit lower in the sky. Any plant can really go up against a window because we have that shorter day. So something like a Christmas cactus that might burn in the summer southern-facing window would be okay, in the winter in a southern-facing window.
Cool.
Just for the amount of light.
All right, you gave us a simple house plant to get going.
Yes.
What are some of after I get a simple house plant going, like I think Christmas cactus, at first I didn't understand them and I was overwatering them. I could see that there was some issues. Once I got that figured out, what's the next step for me? Where am I going next?
So I would say the next one would be something that you might have to water a little more frequently, but, something vining like a little philodendron. There's also a little upright philodendron, but that would be kind of your next step up of level of care where you're watering it once every other week. But they're much more forgiving than, some other things like a fern.
I graduated from a horticultural class, and the professor of sorts, the lady that was teaching it, gave us all a start from one of her plants. And in this case, it happened to be one of the Christmas cactus that I had.
Yeah.
And I never got a chance to ask her how she started that. But on a Christmas cactus, all of the leaves are very well bifurcated, and they're segmented really, really well.
Yeah.
Is it just a matter of pulling one of those off and putting it in dirt?
So as long as you can get a clean little break at one of those joints, which it almost happens on its own, all it needs to do is be pressed up against soil, and it'll root itself down in there.
Gosh.
It's almost foolproof.
Jack Phipps from Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan. They're at about 115th, 113th on Allisonville Road. Is it okay to just come in and start looking at your plants?
Please do.
Who takes care of all those things?
We got a really good houseplant team. Some people that have their own houseplants and know how to take care of them. So, come in, look around, ask some questions, really get all your houseplant questions answered.
Mackie and I had to have rules. My job is watering plants because what I found when I was in college, we had houseplants in the room, and there were three of us sharing some things, and we were all trying to water. And next thing I know, we've got a drowned plant. So
overwater. I think really wanting to do too much and smothering our houseplants, easiest way to lose your favorite plant.
I love it. Killing a plant means I get to buy a new plant.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. Jack Phipps from Allisonville Home and Garden. You're listening to the Home and Garden Show. We're going to have Craft Corner coming up. Allison and Terry got that. And the only reason I know that is because the Craft Corner backdrop has now arrived in studio. If you've got a question, you give us a call. It's 317-239-9393. Real quick, we're going to take a real quick call here from Fulton. Welcome him to 2025. Fulton, we got a short segment here, but Happy New Year, brother.
Happy New Year to you, Danny. How are you?
Good. What's new for you?
Well, I've been practicing my ukulele of September 25, and I was on the JMV takeover on Tuesday night.
I heard you. I said, I know that voice. And so what'd you think of your performance? Did you do okay?
I did pretty well.
Yeah. I love the way you were always so confident, about the little kid that throws the ball up in the air and swings at the bat and strike one. He says, I'm the greatest hitter in the world. He throws it up a second time. He swings. Strike two. I'm still the greatest hitter in the world. And he throws it up third time. He swings and misses. And he goes, I'm the greatest pitcher in the world. So, Fulton, you've always got a positive attitude about yourself.
Yep. I'll be on JMV Takeover tonight.
I'll be listening. Mackie and I tune it in about 6:15, 6:30. But
yep.
Anyway, Happy New Year.
Are you talking to John later on today?
We already talked to him this morning, Fulton. We got him first thing.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Tell him I found cottage cheese at Walmart.
I'm sure he'll be proud. Fulton, thanks for calling, and Happy New Year to you, okay?
Thank you. You
All
too.
Right. So here's the story behind the cottage cheese. John, JMV, has lost a lot of weight, and he's sort of built this affinity for cottage cheese. That's what he's eating all the time, and he's cut out the carbs. He's cut out the sugar, and for speaking on behalf of other middle-aged men, that seems to be the key to losing weight. Now, Jack, you're a young man. Do you have problems with weight gain?
No, I am doing too much outside. I find I can snack just about as much as I'd like.
And snack. The chocolate just about killed me here for the Christmas season. All right. When we come back, we'll be taking your phone calls. 317-239-9393. 317-239-9393 right here on 93 WIBC. Will be with us at about 11:30. But it's the Home and Garden Show. Allison Lemons, Terry Stacy, Jack Phipps, Ethan Patterson. My name's Denny Smith. Pat's on vacation. Hopefully he's not trying to listen to us on the streaming because the streaming is down right now. Thank you to all who have sent us notes to let us know streaming is down. We're working on it. We've got the crack engineering team of Radio 1 working on that. We'll see if we can get that back going. Don't forget to mark your calendars. January 8th is Sasha's birthday. And I don't know how we get her a happy birthday, but we'll have to figure out how to.
January 8th?
January 8th.
Okay. Oh, that's this week.
That's yeah.
Well, I mean, I only remember that because on the 9th is when is the National Day of Mourning for President Carter.
Have you heard about, I know that you're not a great fan of President Trump, but did you know that he's having this rally the day before the inauguration? Do you know what day it is? It's National Popcorn Day.
Oh, my gosh. Is it National Popcorn Day?
Yeah, I think it's on the 19th or the 20th. Whatever the inauguration is, subtract 1, and that's when he's going to have the rally. And it's on National Popcorn Day.
I heard, you can Google, make sure that this is true, but there are some movie theaters on National Popcorn Day that are going to let you bring in your own bucket.
How do they get away with that with health issues?
Well, I don't know. But you bring in, and I heard we just have one theater here in Indianapolis area in Greenwood that's going to do it, but you take your own bucket.
Right.
And then
if you don't have a bucket, they'll sell you one for $5.
That's
I
right.
did hear the $5 thing.
Yeah.
But how do they get away with it? How do they know if your bucket's clean or not?
I don't know if that even matters.
If I came in with a 5-gallon bucket?
I don't even think it matters. Whatever you want. Bring a gas can.
What is it?
I mean, you can bring anything you want.
Bring a gas can.
I think
She's just kidding, folks.
Yeah, don't do that. Well, you wouldn't. You're smarter than that. But it sounds like it's limitless, right? Or is there a limit to the size of your bucket?
Is there anything better than theater popcorn?
Oh, nothing.
Is it the oil? Is it the butter? Oh, Ethan.
It's the butter.
It's the butter. I think you're right.
Remember when they went spastic over coconut oil, whether we were popping in coconut oil or this type of oil, that type of oil? I've about written all that off. Have you ever heard of rapeseed oil? Rapeseed oil is a very common crop that is grown in Canada, and it makes a really good oil, like a sunflower oil or safflower. But anyway, they started running that down. Of course, poor Canadians, they got enough issues, not to take one of their cash crops and throw it in. I think this is crazy, but I'm of the attitude that oil is oil. If you're going to pop something or grow something in it, I like to cook in butter. I don't know about anybody else.
I save all my bacon grease. Everything I cook.
Do you really?
Bacon grease?
Is that for the cats and the feral cats?
It's for me. It's to cook my eggs in. It cooks my popcorn. Popcorn cooked in bacon fat is so good.
So do you keep it in a jar that just looks terrible?
I do. In the refrigerator.
And you pour in the refrigerator?
Refrigerator. Put it in the refrigerator.
Oh.
It's good. Hey, listen, people, right? If you're a Hoosier, we cook a lot of stuff in bacon fat.
There's nothing wrong with it.
You can buy it in the store. It's on the oil. It's in the oil aisle now.
You can buy
bacon grease, bacon fat on like you would a Crisco or a. Yeah.
Hey, when you buy cereals, this is a general question, and if you're listening, you can give me a call, 317-239-9393. Do you ever buy the Kroger brand cereals? Do you ever buy them?
No, I've tried some like store brand at Meijer before, and I'll be honest, I did not prefer them as much as the name brand.
Quaker Oats makes an oat brand, an oat thing. I don't even know what it is, like a nugget, like an oat nugget. And I sort of like that. But then when I had the Kroger oat brand nuggets, they're terrific.
They're good. So
and
you
they're
just have to
about
find the
40%
right one.
off. And I'm thinking, am I crazy here? Have they put a food additive in here to make me like this? You know what they do on carbs. Sometimes they'll do things to sort of make you eat more and more carbs.
Yeah.
At least I think that's what they're doing to me. Yeah. But Kroger makes pretty good cereals. Honest, they do.
I should try more of them.
They got Fruit Loops. They've got Oat Squares.
I love Fruit Loops.
You like Fruit Loops?
Oh, I do.
I love Apple Jacks.
Oh, I love Apple Jacks too.
I don't know if Kroger's got that, but I'm not afraid to buy generic.
Truly, a favorite snack is cereal. I love Cheerios or Wheaties
Do you have
love cereal.
Cereal for breakfast?
No.
Really? Just a snack?
Just cereal for snacks.
Now,
late night.
I have to admit to my second wife, Terry Stacy here. Yeah, I like it just as a snack. Just take a handful, and it sort of curbs that appetite if you get far enough away from the box.
Yeah.
Once you open the box, get at least two rooms away, or you'll be back for more.
Get your handful and go.
Get your handful and go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, I've got him on a short leash, but Happy New Year, Charles the Genius.
Well, hey, you're killing me here. I'm going to ruin the girl, so I'll make this real quick. Anyway.
Wait a minute. Charles, you got to start off the right foot. You have never made anything real quick in your entire life. So you got to stop saying that because you're just lying.
Okay, how about making a short story long? Let me try that angle.
All right.
Anyway, want to warn all of you, all of you and everybody at Rayland and Super Sasha. She's smart enough to stay in the house when she wants to. Be careful out there because this weather. My brother and I were just learning how to drive, summertime and stuff. Dad says, you kids remember now, when this goes bad out there and snowy, it's only good for two things, hospitals and insurance companies. So there we go. What I was calling about, I'm still a good Republican, but I still refer to anybody, whether they are or they aren't, as president. And Jimmy Carter here passed away. And believe it or not, he inadvertently wound up in a movie, but it wasn't him. Now, I'll make a short story long. There's a movie called Black Sunday, come out back in 1977.
Good film.
Bruce Dern playing his usual psychotic self, falls for the love of a terrorist woman. He's the pilot. Now, I never made it clear it was a good year blimp, which is the anniversary coming up. He's going to, at the time is right, I won't give any storyline away, is going to do his best to slaughter, blow up, whatever, the Super Bowl. And Robert Shaw, just off the cusp of finishing up with Jaws, which, believe it or not, May turns 50 years old. He's a Mossad Israeli agent to stop it. Now, Allison's magic fingers can play. Who did Carter run against and win back there in 76, 77, where I didn't even know what it was? They didn't know when they were filming the movie. John Frankenheimer did the Manchurian Candidate and all these other, you have to check his resume. They didn't know who was going to be elected president. So they got two, body doubles. And at the last second, they put Carter in. When the terrorist looks like it's going to happen and the blimp's going to hit, you see the Secret Service form a human shield and hustle out, and for a split second you can sneeze, is a Carter lookalike.
Wow.
And another thing that's really crazy.
Well, he ran against Gerald Ford, if you wanted to know who he ran.
Yeah, well, that's what I did. Being a Republican, you think I'd remember this thing, but they weren't certain. So they found a few years ago the lost footage of the opposite. They called it the opposite president. But if you want to get some laughs, find Saturday Night Live back in 77 or so. Dan Aykroyd in the old days when the show was still funny, actually still with his mustache. He would do one of the best impersonations of Carter, and Lorne Michaels, runs Saturday Night, actually wanted Carter to show up and surprise him. It never worked. But Sissy Spacek, who was almost up, she was up for the best actress for Carrie. We won't give away the surprise ending. Anyway, she played Amy Carter, and I wonder is she still alive or what happened? There's not been any mention or reference to her.
Charles, I'm convinced that you breathe through your ears because I never hear you take a breath and you just keep right on going. You're like an accordion player.
Well, it's clean living. No smoking, no drinking. Now, I was hooked on phonics when I was a teenager, but I got over that.
Happy New Year, Charles. I got to go, brother, but Happy New Year's to you. Thanks for sharing all that.
I'm off.
All right. I'll see you, buddy. Boy, does that guy know a lot of stuff or what? Terry, look at me. Terry, it is the Home and Garden Show, 317-239-9393. Give us a call. It is the Craft Corner with Terry and Allison coming up next right here on 93 WIBC.
Glitter, stickers, buttons, and beads, doodles and doodads, you gotta see. We're gonna have a crafty-rific time. I got scissors, ribbons, tape, and glue. I can tell you like to make things too. I just seen in googly eyes. Yeah, man. Got a lot to do.
I know you've been waiting for this. Craft Corner. This is the 2025 inaugural Craft Corner, ladies.
And it's not going to be a great one.
It's a new season.
It's going to be the best one of the year.
I know I touted it as the best of the year, but it's not. Today is, I know a lot of you are going to be stuck at home, or you're not stuck at home, but you'll choose to stay indoors, right, over the next couple of days. Maybe
Should
you've got
we tell folks
grandkids,
we're on
maybe you've got
Facebook Live right now?
Oh,
yes.
You can find us on
Thank
Facebook
you.
Live.
Home and Garden, Indiana.
Yeah. And so I know a lot of you will be staying indoors, and you're going to be looking for maybe a craft that you have already on hand. And this, my friends, you will have on hand.
Sasha, pay attention over there in the newsroom because I know you're going to be inside.
Today is National Spaghetti Day.
Oh,
So
wow.
we are going to craft with spaghetti.
And is this-
I know behind the scenes, this is not Allison's favorite, but this really would be our guest's favorite. And so you're going to make some cold spaghetti. You're just going to make some spaghetti.
Are you talking about Jack as our guest?
Yeah.
Should I just have Jack do it? Should I step
Show 'em
out?
who you are, Jack.
Should I switch and have Jack do it?
No, you're going to get your hands dirty, and I love when you get upset about being dirty. So you're going to need basically real simple stuff that you already have. You've got food coloring, I betcha. You've probably got Elmer's glue. If you've got Mod Podge, that would be great too.
We love it.
And then you're just going to make your cooked spaghetti.
So this is already cooked spaghetti on a plate. Now it's cold.
That's right. That's
Can
right.
you eat that? I mean, you could technically eat
Have
it.
you ever seen Elf where he eats the cold spaghetti and he puts
love
for
it.
breakfast?
It's good.
Syrup,
Listen,
M&M's,
buddy.
Pop-Tarts on top?
We must mention that Allison's a big fan of Elf.
I know she is.
It's her Christmas movie.
Greatest show ever.
So you're going to either take bowls or you're going to take maybe some Ziploc bags.
Okay.
And what you're going to do is you're going to do various colors of glue, spaghetti food coloring and spaghetti food coloring.
Now,
So you're
how
gonna
do you
get
keep
these
from
out.
getting that all over you, Terry?
Well, that's just, I like it. I like it messy.
So it's kind of like we're painting eggs, but with spaghetti.
We are.
If
and
she can get it out of
kinda-
the box,
there
I've
we
never
go.
seen, buddy.
Struggling with the food coloring. So here's your food coloring.
Okay.
All right. You're going to take your bag, your Ziploc bag. You're
Okay.
going to pour a little bit of your glue. I choose to use the Mod Podge because I think it sticks better.
Okay.
You're going to pour just a couple of dollops in there in each of your bags,
You
maybe
make it
4
sound
or
like
5.
sour cream.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Do a dollop.
There you go. You put your again, glue or your Mod Podge in
Ladies
there.
and gentlemen, we had 2 people in the studio start singing that song. Do it all.
That's good marketing.
Yeah, that's good marketing.
Take your food coloring. I'm using blue, and you're just going to put a few drops into the glue or whatever you've got.
Okay.
Okay. Now you're going to take just a handful of spaghetti.
Okay.
Not a lot, just a little bit.
This
Just
much?
like,
Is that too much?
Does anybody
probably
else
too
call
much.
it biscotti?
No.
Not since I was
I think
2.
when I was a kid, I called it spaghetti.
Spaghetti?
Spaghetti.
Yeah.
Once you get it in there, you're going to mush it around so that each individual spaghetti strand then will get a little coating of the glue or the.
I do like
and the
this
food
part. This
coloring.
is fun.
Then when you're done, you're going to kind of take
Feels
your
really
hand.
wrong.
You'll take your hand and
For
you'll
those
put
of
it
you who
inside.
do not have a Facebook, what you've got here is it just looks like a mush of blue, of different colors blue. There's dark blue and a faded blue, and she's getting it all over her spaghetti inside this Ziploc bag.
Then you're going to take some wax paper.
Okay.
And you're going to just lay that spaghetti out into some kind of an art color. This is our art picture. So I'm going to show you what I've done. Okay,
Oh,
here
here
she's
comes the
elegant
blue.
out.
Oh, and the pink.
I mean, they look pretty, but we're letting it dry on the toilet.
Oh, that's
or
right. It's got the Mod
the wax
Podge glue in it in its structure, so
It's structure. You're going to build something that you like. You can make it long. You can make it short. You can make it round like an ornament.
Oh, wait a minute. Allison's giving the stinky face when she has to reach
No,
in
I'm
and
not touching
grab
it.
these noodles.
What you want to make sure to do, though, is you're going to build something. So you're going to kind of want to stick together because.
So what do
again,
you mean
it's
by
gonna-
build?
You're going to build something that looks like this.
Whoa. So like almost like a bird's nest or something.
So whatever you like. It's you bring
Okay.
out your creative juices. You're an art kid.
So what do you do with that?
Then what you do with
Great
this
question,
is
Jack.
You're going to.
So it looks like a Christmas ornament gone bad.
Okay.
Okay.
It does. But I want to tell you something.
But Terry's going to get her mouth
The
back.
kids are going to absolutely love this
fun.
one because it's fun. It gets their hands involved. Once you set it out to dry on that wax paper, then you're going to put up maybe a little piece of paper or a little piece of string or a little piece of something, fabric.
Okay.
And then this is going to be just something that they can hang in the window. It's not really anything that's supposed to be pretty, but it's art.
Yeah, it's like a squishy sun catcher.
It
you know
is.
what, Terry Lynn, it does look sort of sweet.
It is. It's
I
just
wish
kind
it
of
were
fun.
brighter. It's kind of a dull
Yeah.
color. Now, the pink and the blue.
Mine looks
and
like
yellow,
Easter.
Will hers be brighter or will it be
Hers is
dull
gonna.
like that?
It will darken up a little bit. It will darken up a little bit depending on how long you leave each spaghetti strand in the dye.
So do you leave this out to just air dry?
Uh-huh. On the wax paper, you leave it out to air dry. It
How
takes
long did
about
that take?
12 hours
12
or
hours?
so.
Really?
Yeah, overnight. And then once it's done, then the kids have created something. But what's fun about it is it's actually getting their hands into something and thinking about creative shapes that they might want to make. It's all about what you use, and I highly recommend you use the Mod Podge because it sticks better than the glue, and then and it doesn't take as long. But yeah, this is all washable off their hands, so everything's okay. But it's just fun to get their
That's
hands
good
inside that
because Allison
spaghetti.
has blue fingers.
I know, and she hates it.
Charlie
She
Brown
doesn't like to
says,
be dirty.
Happy New Year to everybody on the live
Happy
stream.
New Year, Charlie.
Thanks, Charlie.
But yeah, this is just something fun for you all to do to waste a little time. But
Well
it brings out the
done.
creative juices. And again,
you can't mess
it's
it up.
National Spaghetti Day. We're doing spaghetti art.
Happy Spaghetti Day.
Yeah, how
Thank
about
you,
that?
Terry. That's different.
Well, Craft
Thank
Corner
you.
ladies, that is really,
Thank
really
you.
fun.
I didn't say it was my best one.
2 blue thumbs up.
It's just fun. Thanks
Oh, I
for
love
watching,
that.
everybody. We appreciate it.
Happy New
You
Year.
can follow us on Home and Garden on Facebook.
you're good.
We're on the. I think Facebook is the one we post the most on. But thanks for taking a look. The ladies really put some good thought into this, except for this week. I think this is a B+ effort.
It's for the kids. The kids will love this. They'll have fun
I
doing
think
it.
it was
I
fun.
promise you. They'll love it. They'll
And I
like
do
getting
like-
their hands in it.
I do like crafts where you cannot mess up.
Yeah, you can't mess
And
up.
you can't mess us
Yeah,
up.
because I'm looking at the pumpkins over here. That remember when we tied the pumpkins? You
Oh,
were so
mine is
upset.
mine's been the trash for a while.
I think,
But
I,
wait a
you know
minute.
what, I
Spaghetti
think
was
when
great.
it comes to art, there are no mistakes. It's just about using your creativity and your brains and having fun and getting your
I
hands
measure
dirty.
it by Allison's frustration level. I remember when you did the ornaments made up of spoons.
Yeah,
she was so
Plastic
frustrated. Bless her.
spoons.
Oh, golly, she was
She
frustrated.
does get frustrated. She wants it to be quick and easy and not get dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all do.
I like
What
it.
are we going to do, you know?
What are we gonna do?
I think it's fun.
Are we
Thanks
gonna-
for watching, everybody that
Yeah,
did.
that's right.
Appreciate
All right,
it.
it's the Home and Garden Show. Hey, we're taking your phone calls too. If you've got questions about crafts or suggestions of crafts, drop them in an email to Terry at WIBC.com, TERRI. And if you got some good ideas for crafts, I tell you what, these ladies can put it together and just keep Allison's frustration level low. That's the only thing, we don't want it to be too difficult.
No, not too difficult.
All right, room for your phone calls. You give us a call when we'll be back here in just a second, but give us a call, 317-239-9393. It's 317-239-9393 right here on WIBC. You need to pay attention to the weather this weekend. It's coming in tomorrow afternoon with Sunday afternoon. So you should have, if you're going to go out and have a good time, might be today would be a better day than tomorrow, because about mid-morning to mid to late morning, I've seen, I'm looking at the National Weather Service, the winter storm warning remains in effect from 7 a.m. Sunday to 1 p.m. Eastern on Monday. Heavy mixed precipitation expected, total snow and sleet accumulations between 5 and 8 inches. And then the ice accumulations around 1/10 of an inch. So this isn't going to be pretty. Go out and gas up the car. If you don't need beer and cigarettes, always remember that you can trade them for milk and bread. So go out and make sure that you're ready for the storm before it comes. Also, whoever your utility supplier is, you shouldn't have to worry about your fuel, but you might have to worry about your electricity. So if it's AES, if it is Duke Energy, make sure you have a way to communicate with them if you do lose power. And don't assume that just because the whole neighborhood's dark. Terry, you told a good story there that you guys were out for 3 or 4 days and nobody had ever reported it.
Nobody reported it.
'Cause
You
we
think
thought
the whole
somebody else
neighborhood-
was doing it.
Right. If your neighborhood's out.
We actually had a listener, too, just reach out to and said, you don't have to download the app. Duke, for instance, has a text line. So you can just text them, hey, my power is out. And then they will actually reply back to you and let them know
Now
that they're
that's
en route.
cool.
So
That's cool.
That's an easy way, too.
And don't forget the animals. We talked about that earlier in the
course.
9 o'clock hour. You have until 2 o'clock today if you're one of those that love the cats like we do, and the ferals that are strays. They've created cat shelters out of coolers, and you can go by Indianapolis Animal Care and Control Indianapolis Care and Control.
Indianapolis Animal Care
Animal
Services.
Care Services. They keep changing that name.
It's
the same letters.
It's an alliteration, and you get nailed by it every time.
I know, but there until 2:00 you can swing by and pick up one of those cat shelters if you'd like.
All right, so Terry, Allison, Jack, do any of you in the wintertime really turn down your thermostat, or do you turn it up? I'm gonna ask you a straightforward question. When wintertime comes, do you find yourself adding more heat or taking away heat?
Taking away heat.
Okay, Terry?
Adding heat.
Adding heat. Allison, do you know what
I mean,
happens?
it's wrong. I'm sure that it's not good.
I mean, if I'm cold, I'm turning it up.
You just turn it up. Yeah, the statistics show
Pretty
that
basic. Does your mom and dad go, no, don't play with the thermostat?
Yeah, unless I'm at my parents' house, then I'll sneak it occasionally.
That's where we're going.
David's
I go
always
to,
like,
I go over
"Don't
to visit
play
my
with
mom.
the thermostat."
I go over to visit my mom, and I think it's really, really warm in there. Statistically, you start turning it up at age
I don't know.
60. At age 60 is when you actually start turning up
Because your
your
skin
thermostat.
gets thinner.
Yeah, we're told.
Blood thinners.
Yeah, if you haven't been
Blood
told,
thinners?
everybody
It's
wants you
cold.
to reduce your thermostat to a comfortable setting. In the wintertime, to save energy. Well, a comfortable setting might be going up instead of reducing it. But the utilities want us to reduce it, which is kind of silly because they're selling power. I would think they'd want you to buy more power. So maybe they want to save. Other thing is they say leave drapes or blinds open when the sun is out. Let the sun come in, just like what we're doing right here. Or close them at night to keep the insulation in there. And I will tell you, as an old HVAC contractor, that's absolutely true. And the heat loss that goes through the windows is incredible at nighttime.
Thermal. We invested in some thermal curtains last year for a couple of rooms.
Like
and
long underwear for
that
curtains?
was they have an insulation back on them.
Yeah.
Best thing ever.
Really?
Best thing we've ever done.
Are they heavy when you
Heavy.
pull them? They're like when you pull the
They're
curtains
almost like
open?
those that need a blackout curtain.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
It's very similar, except it's got a thin layer of thermal insulation on the back of them, and they were not much at all, and they have made such a difference
Do the
in those
cats
cold
bother 'em?
rooms. No.
No?
Which is weird, but
Yeah,
no,
which is-
they're just
usually
great.
they will go after them. All right, so people say, well, what about my water heater? What temperature is the national standard for setting of a water heater right now? Do you guys know that?
102.
You're close.
100.
Put the 0 in the middle and the 2 on the end.
120.
120. That's right.
120.
What a
That was a good guess, Terry.
Yeah, and do you know why?
I don't know.
It's not for energy savings. It's because the water heater company kept getting sued for scalds. We used to set water heaters at 140, and then the lawyers got involved, and if a child turns on a hot water faucet, the time for scalding is much shorter the hotter the water is, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's most of the water heaters that come out of State Industries, A.O. Smith, all of the major manufacturers are all set at 120 degrees because then they can testify in court, well, you should be able to hold your hand under 120-degree water for at least 25 seconds, which is enough for a parent to come in and save the child, as opposed to 140, where the child just turns it on, sticks it in there, and gets scalded immediately. Wow. It's about insurance rates. It's about lawyering. 120 degrees. There you go. You heard it here first.
Thank you, Danny.
Yeah. I think it's funny, the people that turn down their thermostats and the people that turn them up. In the wintertime, there are people that are polar bears. And when we were in the HVAC business, it was really hard when we had one family member who was a polar bear and the other one was a flamingo. Yeah. I can't remember what the other name we called him. But, boy, I tell you what, those are things that they should do in marriage vows. Ethan, when you get married, you better find out whether your fiance is hot-blooded or cold-blooded, and if it's different, you better put that in the marriage contract. Just saying.
I think she's pretty hot.
Well, not that type of hot. Is she
He's
listening?
smooth.
You
He's
did that.
smooth.
Is he smooth? Like a chainsaw, yeah. All right. I think I asked Jack about the sunlight, the beginning, the fertilizing. What did I forget to ask you about the houseplants? Because I asked you.
Repotting?
Yeah, repotting. When do you repot?
So really a few things you look for when you're repotting would be every plant that's growing out in nature, especially our house plants, are used to having kind of tight growing constrictions where they're fighting for space. So they like to be kind of tight in a pot. So if you get a new plant, it's probably good in that pot for at least a year. The bigger container you get, the longer it can go. And that's when you have to fertilize or root prune But typically, if you start to see your growth kind of stop or the roots are circling in the pot, kind of reaching up towards the top of the pot, time to repot.
Then would you when you put that plant back into a new pot, do you straighten those out, those roots that were circling around?
You can a little bit, but unless some things do not want to be messed with their roots at all. So if you're doing like a fiddle leaf fig, those
What
big.
about an orchid?
Orchid, you can kind of tease those roots up.
Okay. What tease those roots up?
Like
kind of
tease them out so that
okay.
Massage them, whatever you want to say to separate them.
Okay.
You know how
we
to
say
tease.
tease, so you do it gently.
It's when you tease your
Right.
hair, you back comb it.
Right.
With roots, you sort of separate them easily, not with a comb, but I used a pick, a
Just
dental
carefully,
pick. Yeah.
I will just kind of go and work them back and forth until they just loosen themselves out.
A lot of people did get orchids for Christmas. So, that orchid that we're talking about, and they could live a long time too if we
Yeah.
take very good care of them.
So I would say if you got an orchid for Christmas, let it bloom, do its thing. Don't repot it. Don't even worry about repotting it until end of the summer.
End of the summer.
Yeah, what about water? I've always struggled with orchids because I can't figure out the right way to water them.
Yeah, so they're
I've heard
tough
people
because
say,
they like the bark, that really loose, kind of coarse bark as opposed to dirt. So it is something you almost have to keep it in a plastic pot that you can dunk in water and let it soak. So I would soak it, once a week for 10, 15
What about these
minutes.
cats that put down ice cubes? Is that a decent thing for orchids?
Yeah, in my mind, that's more like a sip over the course of the week, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially in the winter. When the heat's on, you're just keeping it a little moist, but to really water it, you need to
Well, that's almost
soak
hydroponics. I mean, you're dunking the whole thing in there and pulling it out?
And then just letting it soak so all that bark kind of saturates again. And then as that's kind of slowly dries out, the orchid just takes it in.
Jack Phipps joins us from Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan. Here's a question that I'm asked regularly. What plants don't need a hole in the pot? If you go to buy a pot, sometimes there's a hole in the bottom and sometimes there's not, and there's always a little dish underneath it. Is there any plant that we don't want a hole in the pot?
I would honestly say no, because if you don't have a hole, then there's no way for water to ever get out. So if you ever have too much water in there, there's no way for you to get that out. And no plant wants to sit in standing water. Even if it's a hydroponic plant, it's used to growing in water, not having water, saturated soil that it has to pull through.
That's really interesting. In HVAC, we talk about the chimney effect. And I had an instructor once in not horticulture, but it was just a master gardener class. And he was talking about the chimney effect from the bottom of the pot to the top of the pot. There is a temperature difference in the soil, believe it or not, from the bottom to the top. And it's because if there's no water standing in the dish below and air can get in there, which is what you want, then it actually dries out the plant from the bottom up. And it really was pretty interesting. But I'm glad to hear that you don't think there should be anything planted in a pot that does not. So why do they sell them?
So everybody loves a decorative pot. And I would say every plant I have, except a handful at home, I have a plastic pot with a hole that's in a decorative pot. So the decorative pot kind of catches the water.
Yeah.
And then you can, take out that plant if something's going wrong.
Hey, Jack, we got a question here real quick from Robert. Hey, Robert, we got a short segment here, but what question do you have for us?
A Christmas cactus that was given to me in 1980. It had belonged to my grandmother, was given to her in 1955, so it's 70 years old.
Wow. It's so cool.
For a place to put it, since I've gotten old, I hate just to toss it out.
No, I'll take it. Yeah. I'll keep it alive as long as I can.
Are you searching for adoption papers here to give it away, or do you want to keep it, Robert?
No, I don't want to keep it. No, I want to give it to somebody who will take care of it, and that's all.
Yeah, I think there are so many people where a family heirloom like that's been passed along. If you were to bring it into a store like Allisonville Nursery, we'd be happy to kind of look over it. And then as some people come in, find the right person to take it home, continue its legacy.
That'd be great. It used to be bigger. It's about 2 feet in diameter. It used to be bigger, except I tripped and fell on top of it and broke about 10 years ago.
Hopefully you're okay.
Did it break your fall, though?
I have to say, until he laughed, I didn't think it was the same
Right.
one. I know this, Robert. Do I know you, Robert?
Yes, you do.
I thought I did. Well, anyway, Christmas cactus, everybody wants one. I would say if Allisonville Road will take them, Allisonville Home and Garden.
And we could even, if you wanted to continue it on, we'd be happy to propagate it for you. So pull off a little bit that you can have your own kind of small starter plan of it
What
again.
a great idea.
Cool. Robert, it's good to hear from you. It's funny how we know people by their laughs, isn't it? Until you laughed, I didn't know if it was the right one. Now I know it is.
Give Jack a call or somebody before I come out, I suppose.
Yeah,
That'd be
we'd be
good.
happy to help you out.
That'll be
All
good.
right, thank you so much.
Robert, and Happy New Year to you. It's good to hear your voice once again. Well, it's a Home and Garden show. Give us a call. Jack really does know what he's talking about, and we'll do our best to help you. Pat's away, but certainly Allison and Terry and Ethan and I are all here to help you. It's 93 WIBC.
Oh, I just love that story.
Do you want it?
Jack, please take care of him.
Well,
If it gets to him, do you want him to give it to you?
Do you want
You're
All we're
right,
saying-
Terry.
All we're saying is keep an open mind, okay?
Something about when someone sings your name, you just feel special.
It's catchy.
So
It's
if you
so
guys
cute.
if you guys missed it last week, our AI DJ, that is Ethan, our board op, creates different music songs or jingles through an app. And last week we were toying with maybe trying a new home and garden theme.
Keep an open mind, folks.
And he came up with this, and I think it's so cute.
Yeah.
I just love it. I just love
Ethan,
it.
you want to take credit for this one? This is
should.
good.
I would, but it's just because you guys are so amazing. Like, it's, you guys are like content machines.
But
So-
truly, it's amazing. Like you created this in what, 5 minutes?
Yeah,
It's amazing. Like it's this singer, quote unquote, is AI. I mean, it's
It's crazy.
it's
I
crazy.
know that there are probably people thinking, I want to do that too. And tell everybody how you get this done. It's
Well,
an app.
Yeah, it is an app. Not working the greatest right this second. So don't get it right now. Okay.
Okay.
But maybe tomorrow you can get the app. It is MyTunes on
MyTunes.
the Apple Store,
good.
Android, wherever you're at.
And you do have to pay for it.
Yep.
Just a heads
Yep.
up.
I
Feeds
paid
it
by
a
the
few-
year.
yeah.
Just get her done.
Just
you know.
feeds a
Get her
few-
done.
few
He's
names.
already gotten it's his money's worth.
Right.
You know what, though, Ethan? It doesn't have your name in it, and you're a part of the family too. You should be in part of that song somehow.
Ethan just needs his own song. Period.
Maybe he does need his own
Just
song.
play it after.
Now, you chose this music. What happens if you would request like a heavy metal version or a rap version? Can you
That's Denny's go-to.
No.
Yeah.
How do you tell them what type of music you want?
You can literally, so once you write the prompt out, you can do advanced settings where you can pick like a male or female voice. You can choose to make it like live, like a concert, or like they recorded it in a studio.
so
They can have
fun.
applause and stuff.
That'd be
Yeah,
great.
and then there's all the different genres on the bottom. I will say, we talked about AI's doing its thing, but it hasn't come quite far enough for rap yet.
Okay.
The voices are a little iffy.
Okay.
So
That's
we'll
fair.
hold on that one. But we can get some rock and some country in there.
It's really good.
Ethan, it's really good. Thanks for sharing. And those of you who are texting me, just chill out a little bit. We're just exploring.
Are people really texting you and
Yes,
telling
they
you
are.
no?
Yeah, they let me know. They say, "Are you changing the song? Don't change the song." And I said, "Just keep an open mind." But I will say this. How about this? Can you imagine how parents can entertain children if they can master AI?
Oh,
if they
yeah.
can do this with their kids and say, "I want you to use the name Bella or whatever, and I want you to sing a lullaby to her, or I want you to play a game with her." Can you imagine where this is going to be in a couple of years?
I'm afraid Bella's going to be teaching her mom how to make AI songs.
A new survey came out this week that said 12-year-olds are more tech savvy these days than their parents.
I believe it.
And I'm glad
Because
for
they
that.
have to.
It's just that
But
because they
it's
have to,
interesting.
but it's in it. I understand it and everything. It's just that this generation that has had. I just worry about so much stuff when it comes to
I don't think
all
we'll
that's
know
on.
what
there
they're missing
needs to be a
out,
balance
you
like
know,
that.
There's
for a
got to
while.
be a balance somehow or another
we're
because
doing
we're trying to get
skippity-quip.
kids to stop using them in school, and it's like a battle.
I
right?
still remember when we were told. I grew up when we used slide rules. We call them slipsticks. It was an logarithmic type machine for calculating, and we used them in scientific classes all the time. And then I remember when somebody brought in a calculator that was extremely expensive. They got it for Christmas, but a little handheld calculator like what we have now. it could have been like $400 or $500 back then. It was really, really incredible. And I remember being told you'll never have a calculator with you all the time. You need to be able to do math. Well, you have a calculator with you all the time.
You do.
Now. It's incredible how fast we've come. My number one job for my mom, I call Mom every morning. Mom is in her mid-90s. I think she's going to be 95 on her next birthday. Do you know what the number one thing that I do every morning with my mom? Denny, what does this word mean? And she will have like DEI. She goes, what is DEI? And she'll ask me all these, political type questions about what does this word mean? Or she'll hear something and she keeps a whole list. And every morning we go through it and I said, well, I think this is what this means. But there's a lot of them I don't know. I mean, the things that are used every day on the phone. So anyway, get ready. Things are going to change a little bit. How about a horticulture question? Jack, you ready?
I'm ready.
Jack Phipps from Allisonville Home and Garden. Richard is here with a question. Hey, Richard.
Hey there. Thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys' program. My wife, we have a plant that's inside our house. It's down in our bathroom of all places. I don't know why right now, but it's a golden pathos, I think is what she said. But it appears to be dying, and I'm not sure what we need to do. I don't know if the soil needs to be changed or if it's I don't think we're overwatering it.
Yeah, they're pretty tough plants. What about it makes you think that what makes it look like it's dying on you?
Well, it's just not looking vibrant, and it's just kind of droopy,
Yeah, so there's a ton of things, especially in the winter. Almost every house plant will start to show some stress. Yellowing leaves, which are probably not.
Yeah, it's kind of getting yellow both on the leaves and the stems, and then like I say, it's just kind of droopy looking.
Yeah, I would say as long as the soil is not dry all the time or not soaking wet. If it's in the bathroom, it gets humidity. It should be getting enough light. My guess would be that it's just either way too wet or not getting enough water.
Okay. Some plants I just didn't know if the light was an issue. I know you can get too much light. I didn't know if that's the case in that one.
Unless you have, a sunlight or big windows in that bathroom, I would say it's most likely just a water issue.
Hey, Richard, you want the good news? Do you know what pathos means? It means it means evoking an emotion of sorrow or pathos. Where am I going with this? It means that the plant wants you to feel sorry for it. Okay.
Oh.
So.
Okay.
Isn't that something? It's called golden pathos. Is that right?
Pothos, yeah.
Pothos. Oh, P-O or P-O?
P-O-T-H-O-S.
Oh, I screwed that up. I thought it was pathos. So.
And it means,
I thought it was. It's not P-A-T-H-O-S.
Families typically P-O-T-H-O-S.
Okay. Well, I had it wrong. Sorry.
That's all right. My family's usually P-O'd at me, too. So
knew that was coming.
Works. Yeah, you knew
that was good, Denny.
Yeah.
You're a wealth of knowledge, Denny. You're a wealth of knowledge.
Listen, brother. Hey, thanks for the phone call and Happy New Year, okay?
You too. Thanks.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye. How about that? Pathos. I'd never heard of the plant before.
The other common name for it would be like devil's ivy. Yeah, it's an older name, but it's the only common name for it.
It's funny how we get that, and a lot of that comes from Spanish culture, but, the snake plant, is that the one we call mother-in-law's tongue because it's so long and sharp?
And impossible to kill.
Impossible to kill.
Those
I didn't hear
drive.
that part. But a lot of that came from Spanish culture, but the devil's
ivy.
Devil's ivy. And the other one that I remember is that cactus, the saguaro cactus. Those are sometimes known as a tenedor del diablo, meaning the devil's fork, because they usually have three things pointing up. And sometimes they're given the name the devil's fork.
Yeah. Who's the namer?
I don't know who names them. It's probably, folklore.
I'd like to say passed down through story.
Yeah.
That's how?
Maybe somebody got shot up there underneath the cactus. And
19th century marketing.
Are there always new plants coming out? Like brand new things every year? Like every year we celebrate, something's new is coming out this year. And
I don't know about that.
New stuff in the plant world
I don't
for
know in the plant
2025?
world, but certainly for the grain crops like different soybeans, different corns and wheats and stuff, that happens all the time. Does it happen in houseplants too?
You still get some, but you'll get, the one rare Monstera that everybody wants to buy, but then everybody's propagating it at home. So
what's the most expensive houseplant you've ever seen?
Probably some of those overpriced, big kind of. There's a white variegated that can only be propagated through cutting. It can't be a tissue
Variegated what?
culture. Monstera.
Monstera?
Yeah, and they get these really big leaves, but it's got a white on it.
All right, when we come back, you're going to tell us how much that costs.
Just wait.
Because I'm just terrified right now. Hey, if you got a question, Jack's in the studio, and we'll do our best to help you any way we can. 317-239-9393, right here on 93 WIBC. Oh, 317-239-9393 is the number to get you into us. It's the Home and Garden Show brought to you by the Michaelis Corporation. Water storms, fire, and wet basements, life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. And listen, with this winter storm warning, don't forget this number. And I'm serious. You can put it on your water heater someplace that if you have an emergency that's going to take some construction, repair, rehabilitation, 844-FIX-INDY. They really are a great company. They really and truly are a great company. And while we're talking about it, don't forget for your electric company, I think it's the most important one, know how to send them a message. Allison just told us that, which one was it? Was it AES that we just text them?
Duke, yeah, if you go to their website. I'm sure AES has a text line too, but they have a whole text number where you can just do that as well.
Have you ever wondered what would happen if the power really went out for a long period of time?
Like for the whole city or something?
Yeah, I mean...
That always kind of scares me. That's the beginning of the end of the world movies.
Over the summer, my power was out for 3 days. We had called.
Oh, I remember that.
Down in Broad Ripple, all these power lines had fallen.
Yeah.
They couldn't.
And they weren't prepared for it at all.
No.
And yeah.
What'd you do for a shower? What'd you do?
Well, was more concerned about. I would boil some water on my gas stove.
Yeah.
And then I would
spit bath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little cat bath with it. My dog's insulin was hard to keep.
Oh, I bet it was.
That was not fun.
You have to clean up probably everything out of your fridge, and
that's the worst part. One of the worst parts is that you just lose everything that you had in the refrigerator and the freezer, and that can be a lot of money.
In this weather,
24 hours, and then
and don't open it.
Don't open it.
Leave it closed.
But that's in the summertime. In the wintertime, you just move it to the back porch.
You sure do.
You just put it back
You really do, Denny. You're right.
Here's some things. What are some of the things you think you should do when you leave the house for a vacation in this type of weather? What would you do, Allison? What would the instinct be to do when you leave the house?
Turn down the temperature.
How much?
Go to 63.
60.
That's my day-to-day temp inside.
Oh land! I don't think so.
An iceberg?
63.
63.
Is it really?
Yeah. Is that?
That seems so cold.
That seems really cold.
I'm not coming over.
No, thank you. I'll bring my space heater.
But I bet
were you
sleep
standing
good.
on your head? Was it really 93? I mean,
no, I enjoy the 63.
Really? We tell people in the construction industry, we tell people don't take it below 55. Everybody says, I'm taking it down to 35.
Oh, no.
Don't take it below 55 because then all of a sudden your wood starts to absorb and disgorge moisture, and you can cause cracks and a whole bunch of other stuff. So don't go with a big, huge temperature difference. Now, you think you're saving money. If you ever have to do repairs or repaint or, replaster, you'll regret that, and it's really money. But so no lower than 55.
Denny, what would you do about water, though? Let's say you're going. Let's
always,
say you're
always turn it off.
You turn it off.
If you're going to be gone from the house more than a couple days, turn off the water. It's just a disaster waiting to happen.
Okay.
Like a whole house shut off?
Yeah, it's at the point. Normally, we shut off water at the point of entry. So if you know where your water meter is, draw a straight line to the house, and there should be a shutoff valve right there. Problem is, sometimes it's not in the basement. Sometimes it's in the crawl space, or it's in a closet where it's hard to get to. But always turn off the water if you're going to be gone for more than a couple days.
Okay.
Here's another one. Should you have somebody look after the house?
Yes.
Why?
Just to do it. It's actually for me, just so I know somebody's looking at it and watching it and making sure, you want to stop the mail, obviously, and those kind of things. But yeah, you just want to make sure that somebody sees if there looks like a window's broken. Or...
For different reasons, we want somebody to look at it because we don't know our neighbors like we used to. Jack was talking about sending out the neighborhood message about the barking dog and everything. A lot of people don't know who their neighbors are. Now, I grew up in a neighborhood where everybody knew everybody, and when somebody was gone, everybody came over to look after your house and whatever.
Pick up your mail.
Now it's even more important to have somebody look after your house because of burglars. And if you get deliveries, you don't want the porch pirates to come in and steal your stuff. You want to bring the mail in because you don't want that signal that says, hey, we're not home. Come on in. You know? And so anyway, it's always best to have somebody come by and take a look at it.
Plus, if
even just to give them your cell phone number.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
So they can shoot you a text and say, were you expecting somebody to stop by?
Yeah.
Here's a funny thing. My son is coming back from a vacation, and he has Ring doorbells. So he knows you can tell a Ring doorbell to tell you everybody.
Those are nice.
So we go over to feed the cats, and Andy goes, hi, Dad. I'm on.
And you can talk to him through the
Well, first of all,
box.
you get spooked out because you didn't know he could do that, you know. You think it's spooked out. But the technology that's there. And the one thing that I've heard today, and I can't even remember who told me, Allison, it was about the Ring doorbell on the mailbox.
Oh, that was from Ethan.
It was Ethan. How cool is that?
Smart.
Oh, that's
really
cool.
smart.
That's cool. All right, so we've got a Miss Vonnie all the way down from Hendricks County. Hey, Vonnie, Happy New Year.
Thank you, and to you also. A blessed New Year. That's what we want, a blessed one.
All right.
When you turn on your water for your house, turn off the hot water heater. The plumber says that's very important.
Turn off the
Let
water
me think,
heater.
if you turn off all your water, well, one of the things we say is when you turn off all the water, open the hot and cold valve at the kitchen sink. Just let the pressure off. And I think that'd do the same thing.
But still, no, turn off the hot water heater just on your circuit breakers.
Oh, on
And
electric?
I do,
No problem with that.
Yeah, I turn it off. The other thing is I bought something a long time ago that if I call my home phone number, it will tell me the temperature of my house.
Wow.
And it gives me an update. The electric is working. It tells me everything. I don't even know what was the name. Yeah, it was a company that I was really very fortunate to get that.
You know, Vonnie, Moen has a new product that is an electronic monitor that if water goes through the system in a large volume for a long period of time, it automatically shuts it down. Or if it goes through the system at a period of time when it doesn't normally, so it's monitoring your water usage, it shuts it down. And Moen came out with that product, and people are loving it. I don't think I want anybody to know how much water I'm using and when.
Yeah.
So,
it's my
that's
business.
Crazy. Bonnie, thanks for your phone call. Hey, our number, 317-239-9393. What else did I have about going on vacation? Turn off the water heater. Bonnie's right. You can turn off the power. If you've got a gas water heater, look very carefully at it. Do not turn it to off. Turn it to pilot. Because if you turn it off and the pilot light or the thermocouple is weak at all, when you come back and you try to light the pilot... Wow. Did Vonnie hang up on me or did I hang up on Vonnie?
Sorry, Vonnie.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's over.
It's never a dull moment with
Conversation's
Ethan
done.
over there. I'm telling you, he got my attention. Anyway, don't be turning off the gas water heater at the gas control valve. Just turn it to pilot, P-I-L-O-T, and then when you come back, just turn it to on, and everything will be really, really cool. Well, you ready for the snowstorm, folks?
Ready. I'm
It's
ready.
coming.
I'm going to stop and get a few things, but that's just because I want to be a part of it.
And what are you gonna get, Terry?
Have a list. I really don't even have a list.
Are
I
you-
always feel like I need to make sure that I'm stocked up on cat food.
When I went to the store
That's a
yesterday,
fair one,
Meijer
though.
was wiped out.
Oh,
Everything
yesterday
was,
was
just
really wiped out, too.
I think
We
with
went just for a
Christmas
minute.
and New Year's, it
Yeah.
seems everybody.
Allison, how much dog food do you think you guys have ahead? You have 2 dogs. How much dog food do you keep ahead?
I don't know. We just buy the big bag.
The big
By the big
Old-
bag.
And then we give
At
a
Walmart,
Until
it's
it's running
called
low.
Old Roy.
Yeah, Tractor Supply.
Tractor
The
Supp-
Science Diet for the dogs.
Cool.
It's called Science Diet.
Yeah.
Just a cup a day. A meal.
Twice a day.
Twice a day.
We've had 3 dogs, and it's amazing the difference in their eating habits.
Oh, yeah.
We've had one that was, you put it down, I'll eat it. We had one that would eat anything. That was a Labrador. Oh, my God, what an appetite. And then we've got this Labradoodle now that is the pickiest eater I have ever seen in my life.
She's gorgeous.
Are the Frenchies, you've got a Frenchie and a pug, are they picky eaters?
Well, I'll give you a hint for the pugs. They will inhale anything and everything at all times. So we have to limit. But the Frenchie, she'll just kind of pick and choose. But my vet one time said there's two types of dogs: one that eats to live, and one who lives to eat.
Yeah, that's a
and
Labrador.
yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, that's pretty good. There are people like that too. I had two grandparents. One set of grandparents, they could tell you every meal they've had for the last 2 weeks, including they would count the green beans. The other family members were really, really skinny, and my grandfather's name was Pops. You ready for this? What do you think we called the other grandpa who liked to eat all the time?
I don't know.
More Pops.
Oh,
So there was,
that's
so as
nice.
kids, there was Pops, and there was more Pops. All right, when we come back, more of your calls. Looks like Vonnie called back, so I'll let her finish when we get back. The number is 317-239-9393 as you're listening to the Home and Garden Show right here on 93 WIBC. Vonnie hung up on us, and I was really hurt because I don't think I've ever talked to Vonnie when she's ever said a foul word or a mean word, and yet you hung up on me, Vonnie.
You had disappeared on my end.
Vonnie,
I could hear it, but
Vonnie,
I couldn't. I tried to talk.
you
Yes,
hung
ma'am.
Up, you,
Or yes,
hung
sir.
up, you hung up on me. But all right, so you had other
Okay.
things about leaving the house.
My house has a heat pump, so I never touch my thermostat. Because if I kick it down and then I come home and kick it back up, it's going to use the resistance heat.
That's right.
So I don't want that it takes more. I'm trying to tell people the things that I've learned. So, and the other thing is, what if we do lose our electric? I want my house for the pipes not to freeze. So therefore, just keep it at the same temperature.
Vonnie,
Don't drop it.
Vonnie, you're pretty wise. You're doing pretty good there.
Well, thank you. At 75, I should know something.
You're not 75. There's no way.
I am. God is good to me. Yep.
Vonnie, you've shown up on remotes. There's no way I would put you at 75. That's you keep doing what you're doing, okay? And don't hang up. on
Amen.
people, okay?
Thank you.
All right, girl.
God
We'll see you
bless.
later. All right, so I wrote this down. I didn't think we are going to need it, but I would be interested. This is an old game that I was taught by one of my teachers, and I think it was Miss Marsh in the 8th grade. Here's the thing.
Pick up
And-
sticks.
No. This is a fun game. If you could have dinner with anybody in the whole world, living or past, gone on, who would you like to have dinner with and why? You ever thought about that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now, you can say family members. Like, I'm sure you'd like to have dinner with your daddy again.
Sure, let me have absolutely.
Me too.
And
But think about all the people who have touched your lives. You know, we've lived in eras where we've had really, really famous people do really amazing things. I mean, we had Neil Armstrong, first man to walk on the moon. I bet he was the most boring guy in the world.
no, he wasn't.
You don't think he was?
Mm-mm.
I bet he was.
Don't say that ever again.
Oh, come on. I'm just telling you that was my engineers. You know, anybody that wears graph paper for shirts, and engineers are the number one of that. And I've thought about, Terry, who would you just pick one? It doesn't have to be the one.
Oh, my gosh. I don't know. I mean, through the years, this question has been asked of me, and there's so many, I can't even tell you. I mean, first it was Abraham Lincoln, Jesus. I mean, there's just been a whole slew
What about Jimmy Buffett? Jimmy Buffett died a couple years ago.
I know, and I loved him, but to actually sit down and talk to him and have
Not
dinner
interested?
of all the people you could pick. Oh gosh,
How about
Denny.
How about
I
Dame,
love astronauts. I love
how about
amazing women.
Margaret Thatcher. I was just about to say
Another
Margaret.
one.
Yeah.
Some say Mother Teresa. I mean, there's Oprah.
I don't think Mother Teresa. Remember,
Jesus,
folks,
Mother Teresa, and Oprah.
Yeah,
Right.
These are
Yeah,
just
and Abraham
opinions, so
Lincoln.
don't blow up my.
I want to go to that dinner.
Don't blow up my phone. Don't blow up my email. But I'm not sure. I think Mother Teresa, I might feel so guilty I couldn't enjoy the meal.
That's right. That's
and
why
I think
you
she'd
kick
be
her out of the
lecturing
plate.
me.
Right. So So for you, Denny, who?
I thought Jimmy Buffett would be a hoot.
Of all the people you can pick,
of all the people that I could pick,
you would say Jimmy Buffett.
Ayn Rand, who was an author from the 1950s, she wrote Atlas Shrugged, The Fountainhead. She was a Russian immigrant. I think I'd like to have dinner with her. Maybe Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Again, these were people that came over from oppression
Yeah.
and started a whole new life in America.
No, I think that's good.
Yeah,
well,
Pancho
but
Villa.
even like-
I thought Pancho Villa.
That's a good one.
It would have been a good one.
What about like? I mean, seriously, like a president from the early years of our country. I mean, just to talk to them about what they did and how they did this and
what
were
the
they
country was
thinking
actually
and-
like.
Yeah.
Without a question, it would
Right.
be Andrew Jackson, the first Democrat president, but he was the one that fought off the First National Bank. They tried to assassinate him 3 or 4 times, but Andrew Jackson would be my pick there. I mean, maybe Thomas Jefferson. He was a pretty smart guy, too. How about you, Jack?
I think everybody always bounces back and forth. I think right now I'd choose like a family ancestor. I know there's a great-great-grandpa that my, first part of my name came from. He lived up in Michigan on the water. He worked on wooden dolls and worked at a flower shop. So I just think that'd be so interesting.
Flower, F-L-O-W.
Flower shop. Yeah, like
Okay.
actual flowers.
Yeah.
I think I'd just be so interesting to hear about that.
See, that's where your agricultural genes come from?
Yeah.
There you go.
It's been in the family forever.
That's pretty cool. Is there a famous president you'd like to have, I'm trying to think who was president when you were born. It would probably have been
Bush, 92.
Bush, 92, yeah.
If anybody, maybe Obama would be an interesting president.
He would be interesting to have to dinner.
And hear his take on everything.
Allison's
that's transpired the last 10 years.
Allison's hiding behind her screen. She doesn't want me to call her.
I'm not hiding behind my screen. I was listening to Jack.
She invited me to dinner. I thought,
Yeah.
how nice.
Yeah, exactly. I just need Jack there. I guess thinking more modern, I'm very intrigued by the entertainment business. So I love comedians. So my first thought was Robin Williams.
Oh, boy.
I think
Good choice.
Oh my gosh, you'd be exhausted by the time the dinner was over.
Yeah, but he also is like, he was also a big animal lover and a whole bunch of other things. And then another one, Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
Because I
would
think
be
everyone
great.
would want Dolly at their table,
Yeah. What about Noah?
But there's so many. Yeah, that's a problem. Is like there's so many historical people.
All the animals on the ark.
I bet you Noah got
We
really
know it.
annoyed with
I
the
bet he
animals.
did.
I bet so, especially
bet.
the roosters.
Yeah.
This is an exercise that gives us perspective in life. We take everything for granted, and we wake up every morning, whether it's 4 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. We go to bed at relatively the same time. We eat with the same people. Every once in a while on holidays, we'll see other family members. Maybe we've established friendships and stuff. This exercise is an exercise that teaches us perspective that many of us, give up on. Ethan, I'm not leaving you out. Who would you like to go out to eat with? And don't you dare say Heather Maddox.
His fiance.
His fiance.
Whoever pays. No, I'm just kidding.
The
So
bar is set high with Ethan.
if I was gonna give like
You
a
thought
real
you were going to get out of this. You
Yeah,
were
I
over
did.
there
I was-
fast.
It's
like,
a really
I-
hard question.
I even sat down. I would probably say Gandhi would be an interesting one.
I think so.
It's a good
But
one.
that's for like kind of like a
Would
kind of a
he eat?
big one for me. But
I'm told that he was a good conversationalist because he made you talk about yourself. He was an attorney, and he was very good as an attorney. But I'm told from what I have read that he was a great conversationalist because he made you talk about yourself.
yeah, the other end of the spectrum for me would be like Adam Sandler. I love Adam Sandler or Jim Carrey, one of the two. I just feel like out of any famous person, you could like sit down and have a real conversation with them. Maybe not Jim Carrey anymore. Maybe pre-Jim Carrey, but definitely Adam Sandler now.
Wow.
So
That's pretty cool.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool. Well, this is something you can practice yourself when you get together even with your spouse or your friends, or just say, who would you like to go to dinner with? And it's okay to say family members. God, I miss my dad. I wish I could talk to I talked to my dad every morning for about 10 years straight once he had retired. And I just miss those conversations. And, it's okay to choose a family member. But broaden your thought process out, because what it does is it builds you individually into a perspective of saying, hey, this whole world, it ain't all about me. Maybe I need to change something. I was listening to Sasha talk about the book she's going to read. She's got a stash of books. I mean, she goes to, when's the last time I went to Barnes & Noble? It was a long time ago.
I was dragged there. Yeah.
I was dragged there.
Somebody else.
That's exactly right. But anyway, it's a good exercise for you. It's a new year. First of all, don't give up on yourself. Don't you dare give up on America, in spite of how screwed up we appear to be, politically, religiously. I mean, we're pretty screwed up.
Are
But don't-
people pretty, I feel like there is some optimism going into this year.
Right.
There's about our future as a country. I don't know.
I think the curtain has been pulled back, Terry, and we've seen things that we weren't allowed to see before as far as how our news has been filtered and we have sort of been propagandized. And, of course, we listen every day here on WIBC. So for some very opinionated people, and that's good. It's good for ratings and it's good for what they call bias confirmation. We all have our bias as far as we are.
Listen to like-minded people.
Exactly.
Yeah. People like listening and talking to like-minded people.
What's the new year about? The new year is about, say, hey, there's another opinion. Can we pay attention to that just a little bit? Now, they may be wrong. They may be screwed up, but let's at least listen and engage. They've often said that we don't know how to debate anymore. We just know how to get angry and yell.
And I believe that.
And I grew up having to defend a position. If you said something, it's okay, you can say it, but you, by golly, better be able to defend it. And if you can't defend it, then it's a false premise. It's a bogus thing.
I think people are just tired of the divisiveness and the yelling. I think people are just tired. They don't want to do it anymore.
It was an exhausting year.
It was an exhausting year. It was an
2 years, if we think about it.
Yeah,
exhausting
election
couple
year.
Of years. I mean, it's just exhausting.
But I think people are just exhausted. And I think at the end of the day, we realize we all just want the same things. We all just want, cheaper groceries and our families are safe. And that's
I hope so.
And I think we have to go back to the basics of that. I think a lot of people are trying to, at least.
Yeah. I think they're trying to. I hope, and as Denny said, I hope that people will become kinder in listening to people that don't necessarily agree with you.
It's the hardest
thing.
thing.
That's all I ever wanted.
Terry,
is for
it's the
people
hardest thing in the world.
Just to listen to each other and don't be so mad about. You know what? What are we doing? This is a home and garden show. What in the world has happened?
We have 15 minutes left.
We were doing so good, guys.
It was an exercise.
It was a good exercise, Denny.
Yeah. And it's good for us. It's a new year. We turn the leaf and we say it's a new year. They suppose, they'll sermon. It's a blank piece of paper. What are you going to write on it? Well, let me look backwards just a little bit and see what I screwed up so I don't do that again this year.
That's it.
That's it.
We just need to grow. Everybody grow again. Everybody just keep moving forward. Don't look back. Let's go.
Be kind to yourself and kind to one another.
Well, listen to the wisdom coming out. Jackie, we'll take a swing at this. These ladies really knocked it out.
They kind of nailed it.
You hope so. You really hope.
Jack's like, I'm here to talk about houseplants.
Yeah. Right. All right, our number coming into the speed round, 317-239-9393. Whatever you want to talk about. Maybe you want to take me to task for asking those stupid questions. Who do you want to go to dinner with? It's okay. Pat will be back next week, and you can put up with his smart mouth. 317-239-9393, right here on 93 WIBC. It's the speed round. My watch just told me it's time to stand. For those of you who have Apple Watches, you know that they don't want you to sit down for very long. And obviously we've been sitting down for 4 hours, but it's the speed round where we take your calls at 317-239-9393. You can make it short, you can make it long. We'll just have fun with you. I do want to say that I just heard from my buddy John Hewlin. He said if he could eat with anybody, it'd be Roger Penske, Donald Trump, or Jesus. And I thought, boy, wouldn't that be a good poker club?
Hey, John, by the way, John, I will be in touch with you here in the next week. I promise.
All right. Okay. The speed round is brought to you by
Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Great pricing on Lazy Boy. Indiana-made Smith Brothers Furniture. Mattresses made in Indiana and maintenance-free outdoor furniture. Free delivery up to 75 miles. ThompsonFurniture.net.
Woo!
Hey, y'all.
Good job, Jack.
You ready to take some calls? Good job, Jack. And, Jack, thanks for joining us. It's a thankless job to replace Pat Sullivan, but on behalf of us.
Oh, we're so grateful.
Yeah, we are so grateful. All right, first up, we've got David. Dave, welcome to the Home and Garden Show, the speed round, Dave.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Perfect. Hey, real quick, I'd like to have dinner with Julia Childs. I think that would be really good food.
It'd be a good meal, that's for sure.
Yeah. Hey, last week you were talking about, it was New Year's. There's a tradition that I heard of, but I don't, only from one person, that the first day of the month, every month, if the first thing you say to anybody is rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. You're supposed to have good luck all month. Has anyone ever heard of that?
Yeah, I say it with my family every month.
Do you really?
Yeah, well,
Jack, you're holding out on something.
I've never heard of this.
Dave, where'd you hear this?
I heard it from an old boss of mine working up in Kokomo years ago, and he would we'd have a meeting. It was the first day of the month. He'd come in, and that's what he would say. You know,
On
it's
the
like
first
that
day
was
of every month.
Was his name
first
Bugs
day of
Bunny?
every month. It's like the opening salutation of the month, and that's supposed to give you good luck all month.
And you do that every month?
Yeah, if
with
you
your
want to
family?
mix it up, feel free to use like 2 rabbit emojis in a group chat. Kind of gets the point
That's so
across.
cute.
Okay.
Thank you for calling. I really appreciate it.
I've never heard of that.
I had one other idea. If you, I think it would be a neat segment on the show. Or actually, I just think it would be a great T-shirt. Denny Smith on the toilet.
You know, Allison gave me a picture of my dog on the toilet. I'm not sure I'd want to be on there. You know that they are saying that men, I don't know about women, but men are spending too much time on the toilet because they've discovered reels, whether it's in Instagram or something
that
else.
is so
And all
true,
they do
Denny.
is they just sit and watch.
They sit and watch for half an hour.
That can't be good for you.
No.
Dave's laughing. Dave, do you sit on the toilet too much?
I try not to because
That's a yes.
That's a yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're busted.
Yeah,
Happy New
it's
Year,
a men
Dave.
thing.
Rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. Oh, boy, I learned something on this. And Jack, there's the living proof. All right. Next up is Chris. Hey, Chris.
How you guys doing?
It's a good day. You know, I sort of miss Sully, but not really. These ladies and Jack are really pretty more fun than Pat. So,
I think you're making up for him.
yeah, there you go. What's up, Chris?
So I do a big garden. I do a big compost pile. And the fall, I drive around through the neighborhoods, pick up all the leaves everybody sets out in bags, which, of course, sometimes surprises you don't want. Yeah. But my question was pine needles.
Okay.
Are those okay to put in a compost pile or try and weed them out?
You got to divide it up between greens and browns. Now, Jack might have more experience with this. Do you do composting,
Not
Jack?
personally.
All right, so the trick is to get the greens and browns, Chris. The greens are basically where we're getting our energy, and then the browns are the carbohydrates. But if we mix them together and put a little hooch in there, now when I say hooch, you can put in some things like lettuce and greens and stuff that you mix up in a blender with some water. Then you pour it over the top. You've got to have a mixture of both. Leaves don't compost worth a doggone. They're terrible. So if you mix them up with grass or with pine needles, if the pine needles are green, it's better. If the pine needles are brown, then you got to treat them like leaves, which means you need more green. Okay?
Got it.
All right. Google is your friend on that, or DuckDuckGo. There's a lot of good explanations. You can also go to the Purdue website for master gardeners, and just type in composting in the search, and they'll give you some great things, Chris. But I'm glad to hear you're composting. It's really good. Thanks for taking care of America. All right, buddy.
Yep, thank you.
All right. How much time we got? Got a couple minutes left. Let's go to Doug. Hey, Doug, how are you? Doug? Oh. We're all potted up, right? Doug might be listening on the radio, not paying attention. He might be on the toilet doing reels.
Scrolling through his phone.
Doug, 3, 2, I'll put him back on hold. There we go. Well, ladies.
Is that it?
Lightning round.
It is. And Jack, again, thanks for coming in.
Of course.
And if there's a way for you to duplicate Pat's hall pass to get in here, do it. Don't tell him, and then we'll see you next week.
We'll just see you every week.
See you every week. Allison, thanks for all the good work that you're doing. You guys entertain me every night from 3 to 7, and I know there's some repeats in there, but I don't care because I only hear a couple hours of the show anyway. But
the Hammer and Nigel show.
It's really, really good.
They're fun.
It is fun, and I'm sorry Pat's not here to dig out because I see the schedule from
Yeah,
yesterday.
the rundown. Pat likes to go through their stories just for a little filler.
And Terry Lynn, I won't see you tomorrow for the first time in a long time.
IU will be on instead of First Day tomorrow, beginning at 11 a.m. But listen, everybody, be really safe and really careful out there. Keep it tuned right here. You'll be all right. Be
Stupid
careful.
is just the word in the dictionary. It doesn't mean that we have to internalize it. You're going to have a lot of crazy people out there doing crazy things. If you don't have to get on the road, stay off the road. Gas up your tank. Put on your wisdom hat. And, again, rabbit, rabbit, rabbit.
Rabbit, rabbit, rabbit.
Is that good? Where'd you ever hear that before? Our number is 317-239-9393. If you've got ideas, some of you have been so very, very kind. I got some really sad stories about people who had some challenges in their families with wills and stuff. If you're listening and you sent me that email, sometimes I can't send it back to you because it just breaks my heart. But many times, if it's something about heating and air conditioning, plumbing, the garden, whatever, you send it to me. I'll try to get back to you. And if I don't get back to you, send it to me again, because sometimes I don't get through because of the connectivity issues with the Radio 1 email. I have some challenges with that.
Danny has a lot of fans.
I don't have a lot of fans. I got a lot of friends.
His mailbox gets stuffed up.
It gets stuffed up. And the problem is that, and I don't know, I've heard the boys complain about this. Sometimes the connectivity with Radio 1 is not stellar. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's not stellar. And so when I try to, in fact, I had that problem this morning. I was telling Ethan, I said, here I am sitting at a Radio 1 computer and I can't pull up my email. So, what is it that they always said from the Green Bay Packers? What the hell's going on around here? That's a Hammer special. Our number is 317-239-9393. Pat will be back with us next week. I'm looking forward to seeing. Allison, anything fun coming up this week with the boys? Hammer and Nigel?
I would say Monday we're going to be covering that storm coverage that hopefully will never come, but we'll never know. But
yeah, and Jack, you've gone, a week and a half without even having to see Pat. That's got to be a blessing.
That's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's nice, but we miss him at the store, too.
I bet you do. I bet he comes in like a mother-in-law and starts telling you all the dirty linens